Hello, everybody. Welcome in. Happy Thursday to you. Welcome to Writer's Block, the show where we build worlds with friends. Today, we are going to have on, I say we are going to, like they aren't already here. We got Alakazam and Ina Coffin with us. Say hello.
That's us.
Yeah.
Very much
And
been
they're
looking
both
forward
wonderful.
to this. They
Oh,
both.
thank you. I think you're wonderful too.
Yes.
And your name was. I'm sorry. I'm starting early.
No, you. Like, I'm the only non-Floridian person here, so I feel left out, but I guess I'll make it work.
I guess this just proves that we have organized all of this to kill you, Red.
That's fair. I can't even blame you. I would have done the same thing if this was Omni's show.
All it would take is for you to bring it.
This is your intervention. You haven't been to Disney World in quite a long time.
I haven't. I haven't been to Disney World since like 06. I was like a very little boy.
I'm not wrong.
It is almost the Ides of March, so I feel like a Julius Caesar kind of situation is.
At 2 is
The knives in your back.
Hello, Odie. What's up, man? Nice to see you. Let's see here. Okay. Uh-oh, somebody messaged me on Discord during a stream. Bad you. What do you want? How dare you message me? This must be something incredibly important. Oh, okay. It's just Alec. Bastard. Just a sound thing. Other people are coming in quiet compared to Red. Got it. I'll fix that real quick. Turn them up.
Yes.
Excellent.
I'll get more intensely close to the microphone.
Folks at home, let me know if that's better. I'll turn myself down a wee bit, if that helps.
Can I see how center from the thing? Which way? I guess it's not really working.
Let's see. Is that better, folks?
Do. Audio check.
There.
Okay.
Loud and clear.
Ooh.
Excellent. Okay, love to hear it.
For this.
Okay, let's see here.
Well.
Better now. Excellent. That's a good Post Malone song. But anyway, we're here to build better now.
Yay!
Let's see. Oh man, I am missing all of my extensions. Forgive me, folks. I'm incredibly unprofessional this evening. Where's my?
How dare you, Red? This is why we're gonna kill you.
This
Your
is why
YouTube channel.
we're gonna murder you on
They
stream.
want to kill you. I just want to take you to Disney World.
That sounds like a good time.
Where
So who's the friend here?
I will say I do have a long list of friends that I think could betray me at any moment and organize my death.
Primarily Brownie.
So I might just be projecting. Yeah, primarily one of my dogs.
Yeah.
Is like top of that list, but I'm always afraid I'll wake up and she'll be standing over the bed with a knife.
Your dog will have to be
The
standing
dog.
over your bed.
can't
Oh,
hold a
okay,
knife.
I understand.
No, like in Freaks and Geeks when they have it in their mouth.
I see.
Or in the hat.
Yes!
We have to put on a hat.
Oh,
I have to put on
excellent.
a hat.
Where's my flat cap? Where did I put it?
You happy? This is what we have.
What?
I brought him like 5 of them.
It's gonna stack them. Where the hell is my flat cap? Oh, there it is. Okay.
You look mad cute with yours. I look like
You're having fun. You
You
enjoy
look like you're
life.
having a blast. Yeah, you look like you're having a great time.
You-
they're like the local man found with 37 bodies in his basement, and there's a picture of me like
With a dog.
It's just us living up to our Florida man aesthetic, you know.
Oh,
You gotta match it, right?
See,
I mean, I'm from Chicago, so.
oh well.
I'll follow
you, the
it.
brilliance. They're just so soothing and delightful. Well, that is very nice. Thank you.
Nobody's ever thought my voice was soothing. Thank you.
I think
It's
your voice
probably
is
your
good.
voice. Yours is really. I fall asleep when he talks all the time.
Is it the sound of my voice, or you just
You
don't
just-
want to listen to what I have to say? You just,
It depends. Yes.
all right.
Oh, what the hell's going on here? Okay.
For those of you who don't know, we're married.
Yes, we are married.
So legally, I'm allowed to give him this much shit.
We're not just
Yeah, absolutely.
openly hostile for no reason.
No, it's 10 years of couple to make us hostile.
Oh boy. I've been there. That's a good time.
Okay. So Let's see here. So I look like a jazz club musician. So that's
You
nice.
do.
I always look like a jazz club musician with the flat cap and the glasses.
I can see that.
See, the thing is, I was the guy that hung out with musicians. I was a drummer. Anyway, so we're gonna go. We each of us have 3 words prepared, ready to go. So let's see. In order of cameras, we'll just. Oh, for folks that don't know how this show works, we go around in a circle. Each of us have 3 words prepared. I actually have all 3 of my words prepared.
Nice.
They're actually on here right now, but you can't see them. Ooh, movie magic. Oops, shit, just bumped the mic. Hydration check from Odie. Thank you, Odie. So yeah, we're just gonna go around. Thank you for the posture check, Naris. Much love to you. Like to see you here. We're just gonna go around one word at a time till we have all 3. Easy peasy.
Yes.
All right, let's start with Ina because Ina is the.
Alrighty. My first word, I did pick a D word,
Oh,
but it's the only one on the list. Delicacy.
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 Oh, delicacy. I'm sorry. It's
Yeah.
that.
Like a dish, like a food that's considered to be, you know, like native or fancy.
Yeah.
Excellent. I
Like
like
the,
it.
like the
Not a
Like
B.
fairy tale
I'm gonna
food,
do
yes.
It's a B episode. Yeah, bellicacy is
I
what.
can, I can change. None of my letters, none of my words are B's.
No. You're good. I promise.
it,
This isn't the B episode.
no. I like
going
them.
to be in my
I will say
life.
I don't know that I've ever had a delicacy that was actually good. They're all disgusting garbage.
Oh.
Word like okay,
Damn.
caviar sucks.
It's great.
Ortolan sucks.
What is that?
The Scotch egg sucks.
Oh, yeah,
Scotch
those are
eggs are
good.
good, you heathen.
I
What
don't
in the
like
hell?
eggs.
No.
It needs to be made
Sausage
well.
and
It's one of those
casement.
things that could be messed up. But like, Scotch eggs are good. I like it. It's opinion. It's subjective.
It's
Yeah,
an
you're
egg wrapped
entitled to
in
your wrong opinion.
sausage and fried. What's not to like?
Just say 100% of the Scotch eggs I've ever had have been disgusting, inedible garbage.
I don't like eggs.
Fair, but
That would be a death blow for that.
The
Wouldn't
smell of boiled eggs is one of the worst things to
I
me.
was offered the chance to actually have the ortolan where they take the bird and they drown it in cognac and then they like roast it and you eat it bones and all.
it? Oh god, the Hannibal meal. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking
That sounds
about.
good.
Yeah.
I also hate eggs.
Yeah, it's eggs.
First
Gross.
time viewer, first time chat from a viewer. I also hate eggs. Man, this is how we bond with each other.
Speak the truth.
Except I like
I
eggs.
was
I'm
offered,
sorry.
they're like, hey, you want
No,
this
I also enjoy
monstrous nonsense? And I was like, no, I'm good. Don't want to be put on a list, please.
Where was this?
I would rather not say for the sake of my own safety.
Ted Bear, thank you for the follow. I like that.
Hey.
That's cute.
The last time face of disgust was gold.
Okay.
That's a bird.
Let's see.
That
Here.
still looks like one.
What
I
looks
mean,
like a
chicken
bird?
is chicken,
That's true.
but
Chicken.
like, if it looks like one, no.
Just saying.
You do like those little
Semi-fertilized
quails,
duck egg
though.
yolk. Well, it's just like century eggs. People are just like,
Not
oh,
a
that's
duck egg.
weird
No.
and gross. I'd try. Yeah, try,
Semi-fertilized duck egg yolk.
well, just like try everything once, right?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
like, is
Long as
that
it
a
won't
deli-
kill you.
is it a delicacy or is it a native thing? Because there is like this whole controversy and this whole thing about all these shows doing the disgusting food challenges, but it's actual stuff that people eat in like
Other
different
countries.
different countries.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that is a thing that they eat and that they love, and that's part of their culture, and that's great. And we're not used to it. So yes, I guess some delicacies you do have to get used to, but also eggs are disgusting.
I'm just saying. I try a century egg. Anyway, Alec, what is your first word, man?
Okay, so this is partially because I like
Stop.
the idea, and I think in any kind of like for a Noble Bright setting, I like the idea of seeing like day-to-day lives and things like that. But also because I've been playing Elden Ring all day, so Tarnished.
Tarnished.
Nice. Okay.
No maidens.
We're not.
Oh, look your mug.
Oh yeah, my little D20 mug. I love this thing. This thing's great.
You.
I don't
But every
drink.
time you're facing us, you keep rolling like an 11.
That's because I'm not left-handed. Otherwise, it'd be like a 10. The 20 is like on the top.
Oh, JJ, welcome in. Tarnished is a good word. I don't know why I think of like tarnished. because my brain works like this. I'm thinking like of varnish, the stuff that you put on wood, but I'm thinking of like tarnish, like the opposite of that. It's just like this is just destroyed and like irreparable.
Well, the thing I like about Tarnished is like a lot of, okay, like a lot of things will show like this steady, horrible, just disruptive decay. But Tarnished is just like the very earliest stages. Like, okay, it's just starting to slip. Like, there's just like the little sheen of like oxidization. Like, here's a little bit of like it's lost its luster, the tiniest bit. And it's just like this is now the day to day. Everyone is living their life and not polishing everything all the time. So
It's the 10-year-old car that still runs reliably, but it has like a patch or two of rust, but no one cares because it's a 10-year-old car.
Yeah, it's a 2005 Honda Civic. Okay.
What an
I
indictment.
feel you. Yeah, it's the 01 Corolla with more duct tape than bumper.
Way to ruin like the magical illusion of the word tarnish with a Honda Civic.
Honey, what's wrong? You haven't been driving your Toyota Corolla lately.
He hasn't been driving.
Ah, my Toyota Corolla. Rip.
All right, Omni. We are talking about lemons, so I wonder if you have a citrusy word.
Oh, no, but that is a great word right there. Actually, I'm gonna go with a distinctly non-Noble Bright word: dominate.
Ooh.
That could be.
Oh.
It depends on what you're into.
I was
That
gonna
could be
say,
our
this is not one of those kinds of shows.
It could be.
I mean, it might be by the time we're done.
Oh,
Not on Twitch though. Not on
Over
Twitch. It's
evil.
stream somewhere else.
Lord. Yeah,
Also, like, okay, Pokemon is a Noble Bright setting, and Misty dominates over Ash.
okay. All right. Look,
Okay.
those characters are minor.
That's fair. I'm gonna pop in and
Dominate, then it's not. It doesn't have to be sexual. It just should be.
Yeah.
so I'm gonna explain my motivation before it gets tied up in all this, because I didn't have any lick of that thought when I was producing this.
Tied up, Omni.
Sure.
So
I'm
the
sorry that
idea-
you're at the office, Odie. I hope this isn't on speaker.
Yeah.
I hope
Oh,
your
yeah,
coworkers
no,
don't
seriously.
speak English very well in that case.
Seriously, headsets, my dudes. So my idea was we've talked about how this is a post-war economy or post-war world, I should say, and people are starting to move away from the great century-long wars we've had in the past, or like the century-long conflicts and eras of exchange and violence. And I'm interested in seeing, for me, on a nation-state level, what or who is dominating things. Like how much influence do those old states have? And on top of that, also, what things dominate generally the economy and daily life. So, like, I'm using it in the abstract sense of what is most prominent, what projects power here.
Okay.
I think that's important in a Noble Bright setting, is like there needs to be a triumph, whereas like Grimdark, nobody wins, everyone loses all the time. It's always a Pyrrhic victory at best. But like
Right.
there has to be a clear winner in a Noble Bright setting.
Yeah.
I think so as
Or
well.
at very least a path to victory.
Well. I mean, the difference between Noble Red and Grimdark, like you were saying, is Grimdark's just a lot of losses and like superficial victories and stuff like that. That's the whole point of the setting. Everything's supposed to be 5 minutes to midnight nonstop, but this is just like Noble Bright's the opposite of 5 minutes to midnight. Like there's nothing on the horizon. There's just everything. It's just a clear skies, you know. So yeah, like I'm just trying to think here. See, the first Noble Bright setting that keeps coming to mind is anything Ghibli. Like all of almost every single one of Ghibli's settings are Noble Bright, except for Grave of the Fireflies. But that's it's not technically a Ghibli movie. But I
it's
think
a
it was
Ghibli
Miyazaki.
movie, but Miyazaki didn't direct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always think of the difference between Grimdark and Noble Bright is the movies that he likes versus the movies that I like.
That's
Yeah.
fair. Yeah, you got like I don't know what's it Porco Rosso is like a really good example of a Noble Bright setting. Like everybody's just like, even the villains end up being like good guys at the end. They're just sort of like misunderstood and misinterpreted and stuff like that.
It's just anything Disney.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Oh well, except for like the Hunchback of Notre Dame, but
And Pixar does tend to really enjoy like making a lot of grimdark. then they just hide it vaguely in the background.
Oh yeah, I mean
Or,
look at
Front
Wally.
and center Wally. Yeah, like literally front and center dominating the environment is all the garbage.
I'm gonna say something incredibly controversial. The first 30 minutes of Wally, that's all you need to watch.
You could watch that and be like, all right, I'm good, and be
Yeah,
fine.
seriously. The rest of the movie is just like, okay. I feel like they had to do this to pad it, and it's just like
I enjoy all of Wally, but it's like
they did such a good
Yeah.
job at the beginning, soft world building, and then they ruined it all. Like they just ruined it. They're just like, okay, this is exactly what happened. You know, all the stuff we told you at the beginning. This is what happened. You the stuff that you inferred that was
I feel
happening.
like it's a little bit like Up in that sense.
Up is
where
the same
it's-
exact way. You can watch the first hour and then turn it off.
I think it's because they do a really good job of making the first 2 acts be basically a self-contained short.
Well, they make them as shorts
um,
originally, and then they extend them, and it's just like I'd rather them just
Right.
be 30 minutes.
Wally, I can kind
No,
of
I-
see it up.
I think Up is important like the whole way through because the second half is about dealing with grief and loss and coming to terms. But anyway,
When it
that's
comes to
what about
the-
you, Red? What's your fourth one?
Oh,
gotta ask.
fourth word. Oh yeah, my fourth word is
Your fourth, what's the fourth word we have? Your first word.
yes.
my first word is post.
I'm with you, Banner
Monday.
Reaper. I don't take slights to Disney.
Slides to Disney. Yo, let's see.
Wally is so charming.
Red out here.
It makes children want to recycle.
My hot takes are pretty. Well, that's what I'm here for. Omni was saying that he
It
didn't
made
like.
me able to look at a cockroach. That is an accomplishment. I did not have to scream. I felt feelings for cockroach.
Oh, what a profound experience. I could finally look at insect.
Listen, I don't have a lot of depth to my life. I'm wearing mouse ears, bitch. What do you want? I'm sorry.
My first word is
First word.
post mundane.
Word.
What is
Post mundane.
Yep.
Interesting.
Not to
I'd
be
like to hear-
confused. Well, so post mundane. The definition of it is the after events of an apocalypse.
Okay, so like the opposite of post-apocalyptic. It's just
It's
what
just like
happens.
well, it's actually synonymous. It's just like
Okay.
this is what happens after. I think post mundane is a lot more of an interesting word. Mostly, I keep saying post mundane. I'm just like it sounds like a grandfather trying to like remember Post Malone's name. It's like, oh, is that post mundane fellow you keep talking about, son? Like,
That was my first thought. Was just, oh, it's Post Malone. It's adjacent. Is this?
Oh, I will say the thing I like about that is like if you think of Valerius, Bogus Cheesecake setting,
yeah.
that's very post mundane. But it's like, yes, you could, and I think he even argues like, okay, it's a post apocalyptic setting, but it's not Mad Max. It's like people are just farming and living their lives and taking care of sheep and just like
Enjoying themselves.
yeah,
Yeah,
there
no.
are big events, but it's like you can just be like, nah, this is just it now.
It's like living in the Highlands of Scotland or something like that, where it's
Yeah.
very like contained and peaceful and full of like rich tradition, but people just
Like, you've settled into a new
You've
routine
settled.
now that the apocalypse is over.
Yeah,
Right,
it's
what's
it's
the new
pleasant
mundane?
because like
yes, I am your friend now.
while post apocalyptic and post mundane are technically synonymous,
Yeah.
one is a lot more of a post mundane is more of a euphemism. It's just like a lot more of a pleasant word for post apocalyptic. It's just like post apocalyptic. We think stuff like Fallout and Mad Max and I don't know, Stalker's another good example.
Every zombie game or property ever.
Yeah, what's that one? Metro, that one
Yeah.
that takes place. Yeah, but post mundane's like a lot more pleasant. It's just like this happened. It's like
Would it be the difference, perhaps, between Grimdark and Noble Bright?
yeah,
After
absolutely.
like a big thing, it's kind of cyclical then.
Yeah.
It's
Makes a lot of sense.
yeah, it's the post mundane is how I would describe what's it called? Valley of the Winds.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a new
Yeah.
normal.
Yeah. Hey, all
I mean,
world
yeah.
smoothing. What's up, Centrifuge? I haven't seen you in a while. Welcome in.
Hey.
Okay, yeah, but my first word is post mundane. So, Ina, what is your second word?
My second word. Ooh. Which one should I do?
Do the second word that you have on the
I'll
list.
do the second one I have on the list. I'll do spectacle.
Spectacle.
Yes.
Okay. What's your reasoning behind that?
I was just thinking about, what I read through. We're talked a lot about, the government structure and a lot of like the bigger elements. But I was thinking more about like the mundane elements, like the everyday things. So spectacle and like what do they watch? What's theater like? I know music had a very therapeutic kind of aspect to it. But what's exciting? What do people look forward to? Like holidays and hobbies. Like what are the things that they look at and look forward to?
Oh, that's so nice. That's pleasant. Like,
Like pleasant things.
Yeah.
well, yeah, it's perfect to have you on the show for this particular season. Because next season,
Next season, we're just going to open up the throttle. We're going to get skulls from the skull throw.
we are taking the muffler off. We are.
See, it's like this is like a very fun, nice like Ghibli movie. Whereas like next one is going to be like a fucking Beksinski painting where there's just like souls and demons and hell and like just horrible. Like,
Oh yeah.
it's like, oh yeah, what if H.R. Giger was on fire?
Well,
Like,
it's H.R. Giger. It's what's his name? Ray Bradbury. What's his name? Orwell, and Philip K. Dick.
Philip K. Dick is the master. First off, the best on that entire list. Secondly, for Bradbury, Sound of Thunder is his best work, and I will not be taking questions at this time.
But A Most Dangerous Game.
No.
No. What do you mean no? Okay, whatever.
No.
I'm not even in disagreement with you. I'm just trying to like propose something. No, I
said
I
will
love
not be taking
Bradbury.
questions at this time.
I am aware of these old dead white men, but I'm not very familiar with their work.
You got me there.
Yes.
I can't even.
They are dead and white. You are absolutely correct.
Okay, but Philip K. Dick, I will say, my favorite thing about Philip K. Dick is that all of the adaptations of his work have to be renamed because he came up with the worst titles in literary history.
Do androids dream of electric sheep? Man,
Yeah.
really rolls off the tongue.
Or they're like, oh yeah, here's his new book, Flow My Tears, the policeman said. And you're like, no.
Oh, I forgot about that one.
Is that where
Or
Fall Out Boy gets their song titles from?
Or like instead of Total Recall. Okay, Dick.
Okay, Dick. Okay, I don't know which old white man we're talking about right now.
Uh,
Feel very attacked.
Ray Bradbury's best work is Fahrenheit 451. I will not be taking
Oh,
questions.
okay. I did know that was him.
Fahrenheit
Once I
451
was
is
reminded.
fantastic.
Yeah,
But
excellent
I
book.
will say, they're like, okay, Total Recall for the movie, but it's we can remember it for you wholesale, which is like, come
Mhm.
on, Phil, just
Well, I mean, he was an excellent writer. He was one of those people that came up with the title first and then didn't think about it. He was like, I'm
So
gonna
he's Fall
name
Out
this.
Boy, like the original.
Yeah, the title was probably the original word prompt and he just ran with it.
Yeah.
it's just
That's
like
what we're doing.
Phil K. Dick? No, Philip K. Dick. You got the dick part right.
That's the easy part to get.
oh,
But welcome in, Soul.
Okay, and how could I switch places?
So you're a spectacle.
Look, it's how you change the subject.
okay.
Alec, what is your second word?
What is your word?
So my
babe?
next word, actually, I'm gonna go like way off on another thing, which is cryogenic.
Cryogenic. Oh, you guys are wearing Disney hats. You're from Florida, I
Yeah,
mean, cryogenics makes sense. Walt Disney's an ice cube right now.
Yeah.
At least
Well,
his head is.
it would be in Disneyland because I could tell you I worked in the Utilidor. Well, I was in the Utilidor. I worked in Magic Kingdom,
Yeah.
Really?
and it's not down there.
Damn it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's in a super secret vault.
It'd be in Disneyland.
They keep it with the
You also-
Coca-Cola recipe.
It could be Disneyland. It could be inside the middle of Spaceship Earth. Who knows?
It's in Epcot. It's
The
in
real son of
Epcot.
a bitch is it's actually at Universal, and it's the perfect cover.
It's the best hiding spot. Nobody goes there.
Anyway, cryogenic. What was your reasoning behind it, other than Walt Disney, of course?
Okay, so I will say, like, looking at the art, obviously very like diesel punk feel, like very kind of like, okay, I get these things, and then like my thought of that is always the 50s refrigerator, and so I was like,
Mm.
yeah, I was like, okay, and then I started thinking of like literally, okay, how do they keep how do they keep their food like nice and it's like how do they like cool down a building to live in, like, or even cryogenic in like, yes, like people freezing themselves and this and that, but like cryogenic goes beyond the like outrageous of like, oh yeah, we're keeping a man's head deep frozen. It's like, okay, there can be simple boring things for cryogenics.
Well, yeah.
Imagine
study-
a Floridian considering how to keep a place cool.
Okay, well,
It's smart.
yeah. What is the air conditioning situation? That's
We
what
need
I
to
want to know.
I have a fan going on my back right now because I cannot stand to not have some kind of air conditioning directly on my body.
I know
Yeah.
what you mean.
Literally to my right.
Word. Like, come on.
Right above me.
Like, I feel like if I could be actually a wizard, I would want to do like all cold magic.
Like cryomancy.
Yeah. Live in an ice castle.
Either that or be Sub-Zero. That would also be good.
With given the choice, always be Sub-Zero.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What easy.
Get over
magic.
here. Yeah.
Yeah, get over here. The thing that Sub-Zero
The
says. you-
Scorpion says, I know.
I mean, ideally, I'll be killed by Scorpion at the end of the first Mortal Kombat.
Who's the one that I like from that?
Yeah.
Who's the one that I like?
Johnny Cage?
Is it Sonya Blade?
Sonya Blade.
Sonya Blade.
Oh, yeah,
Okay,
Sonya's
that's
cool.
fair.
Sonya Blade.
She's pretty legit.
Yes.
Dope.
Okay, we all know Sonya Blade could step on us, and it's
Yeah,
fine.
of course.
But that's what we should do. We should smash past the Mortal Kombat characters.
No, well,
Ooh, I would do that.
okay, that would be a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah, I'd be down with that.
Personally, I'm a bit of a Kano simp.
Okay, Kano is the man, first
Kano
off.
in the new movie is
After
the
Red
best
Man?
part of the movie.
The one with the metal eye.
Oh, with the metal. Wait.
The Australian.
My favorite,
Yes,
my
sure,
favorite
why not?
intro that he has in like one of the newer Mortal Kombat games is he's literally taking a piss on a corpse and he like turns over to you. He's just like,
Yeah.
"Oh, so I didn't see that."
I can't remember if it's.
Right?
Yeah.
I think it's
Oh.
one of his friendships where he's just making a barbecue.
Yeah, he's
And I'm like,
barbecuing.
Also, I
You
want to
know,
say my favorite Mortal Kombat character is a bit of a lesser. Well, he's in a few games, but Cabal.
Oh
And I
yeah,
think Cabal doesn't get nearly enough respect.
Cabal's cool.
Was he in the movie?
Yeah, he's in the movie.
I remember you saying something. I didn't even play video games when I was a kid. I don't know. I don't know. I'm sorry.
But cryogenics is my word.
Cryogenics.
Excellent. Omni.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, of course. Like
The
take
guy
about
with
a
the
day or
mouth
just time.
You should have kept talking.
I can
The
talk
word-
more about Hero.
The word I'm going with is going to be sail.
So
And so for me,
What?
my idea was that we've talked about some of the imagery before of like these folks in the wild who are using these large like diesel caravans, but how they were the first ones to discover geotech. And my thought is now that they have this new geotechnology, what are they doing with it? My first thought would be sails. I'd like to see like sail people, stern. What are they called again? Stern beasts, I think, or like something. It's something beast. Those strand beasts, the beach walkers. I
What do
want
you-
to explore what wind is being used for in this setting.
what are you
That's-
talking about? What are you referencing?
A strand beast, it's this mechanical contraption that has like not hundred, but it has like dozens of legs that it's literally moved by wind power that it just like makes this thing like crawl like a crab along the beach.
Is
Yeah,
this a real
it's-
thing or is this from?
It
something?
is. No, it is a real 100% thing. It's this artist who does all of these, and they're all like self-sustainingly mobile. His literal like idea behind it was, what if I could just create life? And so he basically made something, as far as he was concerned, qualified in every meaningful way as life, which is mobility. He's supposed to be self-replicating. He hasn't quite gotten that far, but he's getting close. And they literally just like roam these beaches wherever he puts them as like art installations, moving art installations, and they're gorgeous.
We truly live in a year.
They probably look better than the.
We live in a society.
What?
We've been doing this for decades. by the way.
I just looked at the Twitch chat. Why are you talking about bull semen? What happened there? Where did this
Yeah, I
happen?
did
When did
spot
this
that.
start?
I chose
What?
not to describe that. Yeah.
They're talking about
Yeah.
taking dosages of bull semen. What are you going on about? I know I'm
guess
having a
we're-
bit of a cow about, but I would like to see what you're. I like to understand what you're talking about. Was a reference about cryogenetics. Okay, great.
Like,
Don't be sorry. I was just fucking like, I look over and I see semen.
First off, I look over and I see Seaman as name on my next album. Second of all,
I look over and see
you like that, man.
it's true.
That is a good album name. I like that. 30 milliliters. Think like a medicinal cup that comes with enough cuffs. Okay, we're done. So sales an
So
interesting.
yes,
Yes, seaman. Yeah, that would be an appropriate word for sale. Thank you, Kev.
Yeah.
Good segue.
nice.
So yeah, I'd imagine sailing would be. Well, I mean, we've already gone probably in a new age of exploration in that regard. But like, how else did they fight wars with other people? They probably had plenty of nautical technology in that regard.
Right.
Well,
I'm
mean, we
really
don't know
focusing on like
what's going
sail
on.
and the use of
Really.
wind generally, broadly. So that's my idea. What about you, Chief? What's word 2 for you?
Enid, were you saying something? I thought I heard you saying.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
It's being sarcastic. I was like, we don't know a thing about sailing or pirates or anything. It's not like we made like a whole big thing about pirates that I illustrated and like played.
That is fair. Yes.
Pirate.
We're big fans of that kind of stuff.
You can never have too much semen on a vessel. All right.
That is true. RX.
On that note,
Very true.
my next word is
Never have
tempestuous.
Nice. Goes quite well with the sailing thing too.
It does indeed. Tempestuous is, I'll give you the Merriam-Webster definition. It is characterized by strong and turbulent or conflicting emotion. So it's actually, it's more of a word to describe human emotion. So a strong gust of emotion, just something that would come through, or tempestuous in that sense is just sort of like, oh, tempest, tempestuous. It's gale like, I don't know, however you want to describe it. Interesting word, never heard of it. Well, yeah, it's
Well,
actually the
it's-
trending. Always one of my words is the top word on Merriam-Webster. It's the word of the day. So that is one of my words, and that is the word of the day. So it's cool.
Tempestuous. If I think it's one of the ones that Shakespeare invented, because the Tempest is his final play. But like
Probably.
tempestuous as a concept of relating to emotion was because of Prospero in the Tempest.
Shakespeare, fun fact,
Prospero
invented
and
my
Caliban.
actual name. My real
Yes.
first name, Jessica,
Really.
was invented by Shakespeare.
Yeah, it's in The Merchant of Venice.
And it became like a common like Jewish female name because it was the daughter of Shylock, who was like
Yeah.
a really racist Jewish character. But like he invented my name.
Nice.
Man,
Kinda interesting.
you know, Shakespeare just sat down and just said, "Fuck it, I'm gonna come up with a bunch of new words. Just like screw these
He
guys.
invented
I'm gonna
something like
confuse them."
1,500 words.
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
it's something ridiculous like that.
Yeah.
I came up with a new word and I didn't know it existed, and I kept saying it because it sounded like it exists. You know the word hellacious?
Yeah.
Mhm.
To describe hilly terrain, I call it hillacious.
I like that.
I like it. I've been using it for years, and people are like, "That's not actually a word." I'm like, "It is now, bitch. I've been fucking saying it." So hillacious. That is my word. To be of a particularly hilly terrain. That's the definition. There you go. You can quote me on that. I invented my first word. Probably my only word, because that's really condescending to invent words. So
I mean, once you've done that, it's like what can live up to that possibly?
I don't know.
Such a perfect like word itself. It's fun to say. It's got the aciousness to
Yeah,
it.
just like he was traversing the mountains and he was going over this hillacious terrain. That's just like, that's nice. It's pleasant. I almost put it in my book, but I'm like, no, I won't do that. But yeah, tempestuous was my word. I should do
Nice.
hillacious as one of my words. It's not a word. Never mind. This was appropriate to your question, Jez, since I'm a high school English teacher. Okay, Kev is a high school English teacher, so let me ask him, Kev, what do you think of the word hillacious? I came up with it. It's my word. It's my word. I'm a genius. You know.
You should start teaching it to
Well,
your students.
Yeah.
Let the word spread.
That's the word. That's how it's spelled.
I will say he also came up with a ton of insults that we still use.
Yeah.
He did.
Shakespeare like
he
invented a ton of insults.
And expressions.
Insults, expressions, a lot of like colloquialisms, idioms that we used.
Kev digs it.
Kev digs it. Let's go. Okay, teach that to your students. Tell them that a guy named Red came up with it.
Say it was invented by one of the primary colors.
It was invented by one of the primary
English
colors.
guy?
Angry Buck.
Alec invented a word to describe me. That is my favorite word. I put it in your car.
Thanks. I appreciate you putting me on the spot. Fantastic, incredible, amazing
Yeah.
was the word that I used.
Oh,
That's
We were
sweet.
first dating.
Yes.
It was
I
very
call
sweet.
I call Omni Omnilicious.
he does all the time.
Okay. But that is accurate.
That is
Omni
accurate.
is omnilicious.
He is Omnilicious.
Oh, my ego feels nice and fluffed now. I'm quite content.
Ina, what is your last word?
Okay.
All right, it's my last word. Okay. Mischief.
Excellent. Just like what we get up to on this show.
All the time.
So,
I
Miss-
mean,
There we go. That's better.
I kind of went for three pinnacles, I think, of like my personality in a way, because I did a food word. I did something like dramatic that you pay a lot of attention to. And then just mischief in general. I figured in context to this, it would probably be most like, do they have jokes or do they have, like certain kind of like maybe groups that create mischief? What are the childhood games that they play? Like, how is that kind of like brevity, levity kind of situation brought into it?
Are they having fun?
Yeah, are they having fun? Because mischief is fun.
Yeah.
my favorite kind of mischief is Squid Games. So
I feel like that's probably more the first one.
They're
oh,
going
the
around
first
just,
one,
like,
delicacy. Oh yeah, Squid Games is my favorite delicacy.
just going around just straight roasting people.
Squid
Like
Games.
he does to me all the time.
Look, okay, if your partner isn't roasting you, there should be something wrong. Like, there's
Exactly.
probably something wrong.
Better that I get it out in like small, like funny ways than big angry ways.
Expecting more D words.
Oh, there's dominate and delicacy. Oh my god, I just realized the two D words are
I
just.
literally, we were eating hot pot and I looked across the table over my delicious soup and I was like, darling, should I do all D words? Because I did come up with some D words. And he's like, oh, no, just do
I
like
love your impression of
whatever
me.
words. Just do words. Just write down, just do words. It's like, it doesn't have to be a D. He's like, don't do that. It doesn't have to be a thing. So if I disappointed you, it's because
It's my
he
fault.
led me astray.
Yeah.
Omnilicious definition makes the peeps go loco. I agree wholeheartedly.
I gotta admit that is in fact making the happy chemicals go through my brain.
Yes. You need a good brain juice.
He makes those dice go rock, rock.
Oh God, Alec, you're gonna have to suffer through that in a couple of days.
I can make your dice rock. Anyway, Alec, what is your final word on that note?
Okay, so my final one was whisper.
Whisper.
Ooh.
Intriguing.
Song's gonna be stuck in my head now.
Well, no, I was really just thinking like, okay, there's all of this technology. We have the geos being used as batteries now, and like we have, in a Noble Bright setting, I always associated with like quiet and calm, and like you don't need to have the explosions and the screaming and all the nonsense. So it's just like this soft, delicate, fun little just whisper. But also there's a sense of like if there is some kind of tension or anarchy or turmoil, it's just the slightest little whisper of it, of just like the littlest bit of like, where is the plot leading with this? And so it's like whisper. I thought was a fun one. Plus, it's fun to say.
I always think of like a that word's like put a scene into my head. It's like a seaside Mediterranean town, and there's like just that
Yeah.
whisper and that crackle of like a phonograph playing music through the street. It's just like really quiet, pleasant day. That's what I think of when I think of
I always
whisper.
think of the inevitable shot in every Ghibli movie where it's like it shows the huge fields of like tall grass and it's just like blowing in the breeze of like this very just gentle existence to life that you can look out and appreciate the world and kind of just live and exist, and that's all that it needs to be.
Yeah, they really like animating grass, and I can't blame them. It looks like fun. Okay. Well, that's a very pleasant and excellent segue. Omni, what is your last word? I hope it's just horrible and like traumatic.
It's not quite horrible and traumatic, but it does. There is a slightly threatening nature to it. Towering.
Towering.
So for me, one of the things that I think of in terms of world building, the first things I always think of is when you're building a setting or you're building a civilization, what is the thing that will outlast them? So, like, what outlasted the Egyptian dynasties? The pyramids, the Sphinx. Like, literally, I can't even count the number of monuments they left behind. The Romans were outlasted, ironically, by the Colosseum and their aqueducts and their road network, and God forbid, all their impacts on societies all around the world, and a million other similar things. So, I'm wondering what towering monuments, edifices, what things have been made in this world that rise above the civilization. This can be quite literal, like tall, actual objects or monoliths, or it can be abstract in terms of massive edifices or long term projects. Wonders, as you were, the amblers that I was making, whatever works. Like, what thing outlasts the cultures that made it?
Excellent. Kerjiffles. I like your name. Although
Great.
it is a great name. Thank you for the follow. Much love. Appreciate you. I hope you're enjoying the show so far. Folks, I'm gonna take a little segue just for a moment. If you like the content and if you haven't already followed, please consider following. And if you have a little bit of extra scratch, consider subscribing. It really helps out the show, really helps me out, because this is literally my main form of income. And if you could resubscribe, that would be absolutely fantastic. I appreciate each and every single one of you. Thank you for tuning in. But towering, I really like that word. What did Hall say? Al said towering monuments have been erected. Yes, thank you. Aren't you a fucking doctor? I feel like you should have moved past the phase of like high school age jokes.
I mean, that's the trick. That's the biggest trick. The older you get, the more you fall back on that kind of thing.
That'll be right back.
I'm gonna take 2 seconds.
Never. I'm gonna have Al back on this show very soon.
Oh yeah, that's great.
Al's a lot of fun to have on the show. Like the pot. It was all like the pasta dishes you'd never eaten coming back for revenge. Not familiar with that one, but I'll take your word for
Oh yeah,
it.
Ban Reaper said open up a can of worms now, and then Worm Stampede.
Okay, that is a game. That is a game we should play on Wednesdays. Odie,
I
thank
will
you
say-
for the 100 bits, man. I appreciate you.
Oh,
Keep it up. I will most certainly do my best to make some entertaining content, but my guests do half of that for me. So
I know Worm Stampede always reminds me of the Grinderman song Worm Rider. Or is a Worm Tamer? I want to say it's something like that. But he has the line in that song where he says, "My girlfriend calls me the Loch Ness Monster, 2 great big humps, and then I'm gone."
Damn.
So I was thinking if they call me Dr. Worm by They Might Be Giants. That one probably went over most people.
I actually no. I remember that song.
They call me Dr. Worm. Good morning. How are you? I'm Dr. Worm.
I love Dr. Worm. That was such a fun song.
Okay, well, I guess we'll wait for
You know,
Ina to
we'll be
come
right
back.
back.
Yeah, okay. I'll wait to say my final. My final word is very weird, and I'd like to see what people do with it. I wouldn't blame you if you just avoided it because it is a very weird word. Like I said,
Nothing
Odie,
wrong
thank you
with
for the 100 bits. I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
We like weird.
We like weird. We love weird. We are all weird in a sense.
Keep Beach City weird. Yeah.
I think I can safely say, sitting here in my Mickey Mouse ears, that we appreciate weird around here.
I'm wearing a frog t-shirt with a frog playing a banjo, so I very much enjoy weird and cute.
No one else I would wear this hat for, Red.
I appreciate you. Even if you were playing like, I don't know, what's that mouse guard? I think that would be a perfect thing to wear for mouse guard.
It's
Oh,
I
100%.
don't even wear this to Disney.
That's the biggest irony about the mouse ears. Everyone thinks that everyone wears them at Disney. Most folks get them at Disney and then never wear them because they're afraid to lose them or damage them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're,
costs a lot of money.
they're pretty expensive for what they are. They
Yeah.
but so is everything in Disney World. Let
That's
me
true.
I was gonna say I have an upcoming game that involves rodents.
You do, and it
I
looks
do
great
indeed.
and adorable, and I'm loving the art for it, by the way.
I'm working on it. Folks, That's not the announcement at the end of the stream. I did say I was going to be doing an announcement at the end of the stream. It is not that, but I'll talk about that while Ina's gone. So I'm making a game called Rodent. It's literally just called Rodent. It's a D6 dice pool system. You play as a several species of rodent. I'm literally letting people on Twitter pick the species that I make. I'm probably gonna do 5 or 6. I have a capybara. That was the one I did myself because I wanted to do a capybara based on like Inca vibes. So the capybara is gonna be like the tank. I made a guinea pig. Guinea pig was very highly voted, so I made a guinea pig medic based on like a Peruvian sort of vibe. Sadly, they eat guinea pigs in Peru, but they
My question for the capybara is:
yeah.
do they walk around with like yuzu, like just chilling on their head? The yuzu fruit.
You know, I should have put a little bird. Like, I should have given them a little companion. Maybe I'll do that as part of their like stats and stuff like that. So far, I'm trying to remember the next most popular one. The one that people voted on for this most recent one was like I said, guinea pig, but people voted for chinchilla.
Chinchillas are cool.
There are
Chinchillas have
so
to take
many.
this step.
There's so many cute rodents from South America. It's just like I gotta pick like different cultures to like inspire them off of in that regard. Capybara, big ballin'. Capybaras are like 6 feet. They're like the tallest of the rodents. Also, the whole thing is like it's like Doom but with rats and like rodents. You literally fight goats and stuff like that summon demons. So yeah, capybara, the mouse companion under their hat, Ratatouille style. Mice are gonna be like foot
Ratatouille
soldiers.
ride is really cool.
Yeah.
We went on that.
What's
You
that?
get to you shrink down to be rat sized.
Oh, that's cool.
I do remember seeing online someone said
Oh.
they should do Ratatouille 2, where there's like an international food competition, and they find out that all of the chefs have like different international rats underneath their heads.
It'd be called Ratatouille.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
God, yeah.
That would literally be what the studio called it. I would not see it being.
Oh,
anything else.
100%. Why wouldn't you when you have a name that brilliant?
RX
Okay,
said
but-
rip and gnaw until it's done.
I will say they did Now You See Me 2, and I was furious. It should be called Now You Don't.
True. You're so right. Missed.
What
Hollywood's a bunch of hacks, dude. Truly.
There's
Like-
been a couple instances of like that kind of situation where you had the perfect sequel title and just didn't.
Didn't use it.
Tell us your final word.
Yes, I'm sorry. I'm back.
No, you're good. You're good. We were just chit chatting. Kier says, "Was that a goat?" Off. Take a hat off. Okay, I'll take this hat off. I'll leave my glasses
Are
on,
you looking at the Mickey Mouse series?
so I look like
Nice.
Ozzy Osbourne. Yeah. Was that a goat? Patrick Warburton. Oh, sorry. Was that a goat? I can't do a good
I
Patrick
loved
Warburton.
that gif. It's such a good gif.
You know, Cusco's poison. Rob Paulson was one of the biker mice from Mars. Well, yeah, Rob Paulson's a very talented voice actor. He's also Pinky from Pinky and the Brain. My final word is, well, I'll just show you. Forgive me. Serpenticide,
Serpenticide.
the act of
Oh.
killing a serpent.
So, a very fun story. Back when back when Britain was like, destroying India, they had a thing where they're like, "Oh, well, we'll reward you for killing snakes." They're like, "We want to get rid of all the snakes in India, so we'll reward you for every snake head you turn in." But people were then breeding snakes to get the reward.
That's genius.
And then when they're like, "Okay, well, we're not going to do the reward anymore," they just released all those snakes that they had bred out into the wild, which like made the snake population worse than it originally was.
Why'd it have to be snakes?
Oh, why did it have to be snakes? You know I hate snakes.
You're tired of all of these snakes in your damn
Oh,
colony.
no, they shouldn't collect for puppies, but they should just have puppies.
What was the
Puppies everywhere.
that reminds me of one of those stories from ancient Rome. There was somebody that they wanted killed, and they said, we'll give you gold equal to his weight of his head.
Oh,
So
yeah.
the people that killed him filled his head with liquid lead. He tried to turn it.
Get wrecked.
Which-
They're just like, wait, why does his head weigh like 50 fucking pounds? Obviously, they're
They're like,
whatever
don't
their
care,
weight
50 pounds of
measurement.
gold. No.
I will say they did not get away with that, which is a shame because I would have given it to him.
See,
You know what I
that's a DM moment. That is
Yeah.
definitely a Dungeons and Dragons moment.
I would say Serpenticide also is like Metal Gear Solid 2 when you have to fight the fucking Hind D and it's a nightmare.
Yep. Oh God, you just brought me back a lot of memories. Jesus.
Or no, it's Metal Gear Solid 1. Yeah, when you're fighting the Hind.
Yeah, the
God, I died
original.
like 20 times that stupid ass helicopter.
Oh, do you remember Vulcan? Oh, never mind. I don't want to talk about that fight. God damn. Twin snakes left a permanent scar in my brain. Brother. Serpenticide, slayer of 5-sized polygons.
I like that.
I like that. That's very cute.
Nice.
I like that.
Oh,
It feels like a Flat World character right there.
yeah. It's very cute. Very cute. So, now that we have all of our words, which are
Yes.
12, we each pick 2 that we like, and then from there we go and world build with them. So, who would like to start?
I have one right off the bat.
Sure.
So I really like Towering, and I'm just gonna steal Omni's word. I like Towering and I like Sail. What I'm wondering is for something like that, obviously, perhaps like relics of the past that are still towering, these like constant reminders that like loom large in the mind, but even like you could literally be like, oh well, they power things with gigantic like wind turbines, like literal like monolithic wind turbines.
Okay.
Is there something that like, and it's like, okay, we have like the geode batteries and things like that, where it's like if there is not a particularly windy time, it's like it can be stored in that. But like not even that, you can even say like Towering Sail, like mega ships, like gigantic yacht-sized, huge, like you think of like the craft worlds of from the Eldar and things like where it's like you
No.
could store whole cities or countries worth of people in these like giant mega ships.
Ooh. A floating city ship?
Yeah.
See, now you're
somehow-
speaking my language. Don't you dare
Nope,
bring
nope,
up what I
nope,
think
nope.
you're going to talk
I'm
about.
not gonna, but I'm about to say it always comes up.
No,
Even when
you
I
don't
mention
even
it.
say
I
it.
didn't even mention
Don't
it.
even say it.
You know what I'm talking about. Everyone in chat, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I will personally give you a digital high five if someone puts it in the chat. What movie you know I'm referencing in my head right now.
No,
So
no, not Waterworld.
Yeah.
Oh.
and the flip side of this, Red, is if they don't guess it, then I don't mention it enough, and you have to stop razzing me. So
You mentioned we've done this is episode 14 of Writer's Block period. You've mentioned it at least 5 or 6 times. RX, shut up. You're not look, no. He mentions that
Okay.
movie
I
many
didn't
opportunities as he
even
can.
mention it.
Every single time.
Okay. I do want
I
to say.
didn't even mention it. I didn't even
I do
mention
wanna
it.
say, I will say one thing about Mortal Engines.
Oh my
Okay,
God, why'd
and
you
then
have
we
to
should stop talking about it because it sucks. But Mortal okay. The gun that Agent Smith has, what's the actor's name? Hank, what, it's an H name.
You killed me by trying to say his name.
The
Well-
dude who's Agent Smith.
Oh,
Hugo Weaving.
Hugo Weaving.
Hugo Weaving.
Okay.
Yeah.
thank you
gun
for the
that he has
follow,
in
David
Mortal Engines
Crusader. Much love to you.
is the coolest looking fucking gun I've ever seen in like any sci-fi movie ever.
All right,
Yes.
pull it up and put it in the Google Doc. I mean, that's your job.
It's
It's a metal
so
storm. Yeah.
Yeah,
dope.
yeah.
But it's compare that against the movie sucks.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
So your 2 words were towering and sail. What are your 2 words? What 2 words that pop out to you? What do you like?
What 2 words pop out at me? Oh. Let's see. Like they're 2 that go together, right?
Oh, they don't
Yeah.
have to go together. They can be completely like unrelated. You can just pick the 2
They
that
can
you
go
like the
together.
most.
They should go together.
Come on.
I forgot to put on music.
I'm gonna put together. Okay, I think that these could go together. I'm gonna put together Mischief and Serpenticide.
Ooh,
Ah, yes. Mischievous killing of snakes.
Your word.
hey,
I like that.
just
Okay.
just look at Loki. You know what I mean?
He's a mischievous little snake. He's a sneaky little snake.
Well,
You know so much of snakes.
Yeah.
well, he birthed this snake that's gonna, you know, eat the world.
He
I just like the
also
idea of this is going to be a very unfantasy comparison, but I think about the episode of The Simpsons where they have like the snake walking.
Oh yeah, the
Does it-
snake killing day.
Yeah. And just like how the kids all get excited for it and like they all get like their brand new clubs and everything.
Hey,
And perhaps maybe there was, a figurehead or something that they called the snake or the serpent or the viper or something like similar to that. And in celebration or in either in celebration of them being thwarted or taken down, maybe they, celebrate it by going out and hunting snakes. Or it could be a figurehead or, head of a rogue band or something like that. And as a subversive way of addressing that or showing their rebellion against them, maybe they cause mischief by killing snakes and leaving them
or there could
in front of.
literally be a plague of snakes that they have to be like, we have to do a culling of snakes like every once in a while, but let's make it fun.
appropriate because we are very close to St. Patrick's Day. David Crusader asks, let me see here. So what are we doing new around here? JJ explained it pretty well, JJ being Band Reaper. David, what we do here, this is a world building show. Each of us come with 3 words. None of us know what the words are before the show. We sit down, talk about all the words. Now we're picking out the words from, because we have 12 words, so that'd be like way too much to go through. So each of us pick 2 words that we like from this list. They can be ours, they could be one of the other people's, it doesn't matter. But from there, we sort of like talk about world building and like how we can take these words and use them as prompts, essentially. I hope that explains the show for you. If you have any more questions, just please don't be afraid to ask. If I can't answer them, somebody in the chat will. So thank you for joining us. I appreciate you.
Hey, David.
Hey, David.
Okay.
I'm a friend.
Serpenticide, and mischief.
I mean, like I said, some of the stuff of like a memory of something horrible is turned into like a fun, silly family event. Like, and the 5th of November, when they're like, we're going to burn effigies of Guy Fawkes. And it's like, remember when he tried to burn down Parliament and install a Catholic state in England? And like, we're like, isn't it so silly that we're burning effigies of this guy?
Or every celebration of every saint ever, like Saint Valentine's Day. It's like he's a saint
Because he was martyred.
because he was martyred.
Yeah.
He
Like,
performed illegal marriages. He was a saint because they killed him for that.
Of course.
oh, posture and headdress.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not gonna
Hydration
have
check.
coffee.
Thank you. Is that,
Brought
was
you a
that
water.
Naris? Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, so this is my 6th coffee of today.
Good lord, man.
Damn.
Isn't it 10 o'clock for you? Shouldn't you be
He's a
winding down?
very big person. He is 6'4".
Oh, you're
but
taller
also,
than me. You're the
this-
first guest we've had on the show that's taller than me.
Right?
On average, I drink 6 cups a day.
I respect it, man. Just don't stop that heart.
Whatever.
Please,
I don't
please
have to
don't.
pay bills anymore. Come on, win-win.
Well, for reference, I'm 6'3". Hearing that he's 6'4", I'm just like, people are taller than me. That doesn't happen. That doesn't exist.
Yeah, he's a good height.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, I'm
but
sure.
she's a foot shorter than me.
Almost. I'm 5'5.5".
Okay,
That's not bad. JJ is like, how tall are you, JJ? Like 3'4"? JJ's gonna give me a lot of shit for that one. Elise Howell, she's 5'10".
Nice.
my
Yeah, she's pretty
my
tall.
sister,
My sister's 5'10", I think.
she's 5'10" or 5'11".
Wow.
5'10" of just pure mean.
Everyone on my father's side is very tall. I have a cousin who's 6'8".
God damn, where are you
Yeah.
from?
Meanwhile, on my mother's side, they're all very short.
Isn't your mom shorter than me?
My mom's 5'4".
Yeah, your
Oh.
mom's shorter than me.
JJ, I am 5 feet. All of you bask in my fun size glory. See, we like small, we like tall.
I am the
It's okay.
tallest female in my family.
Yeah.
You're 5'5" and you're the tallest.
I'm 5'5.5". Listen.
Look, Joel,
we are
Okay, we'll
the
round up.
tiniest
5'6".
ass New York Jews. I don't know what to tell you. My family, he described them best when he first like visited them all in South Florida.
it's
And
if the nanny was on HBO, is how I describe her family.
it's like, have you seen The Nanny, like the 90s show with like Fran Drescher?
Did you describe
like-
your family as New York Jews?
Yeah, they're all New York Jews.
Do they
They
have
moved
the
to
accent
Florida.
too, like to go with it?
Yeah,
Oh, that's.
I don't have much of an accent unless I'm yelling.
Do they talk to you like this? Like, come here,
Yeah,
Jessica.
my mother and my grandmother and everybody in my family, like, this is how they talk, and they talk really fast and they talk really loud. And they literally, like, when he came to visit, like, we were at my grandmother's with my grandmother.
Oh my god, this story is
My brother,
it's so
and,
long
like,
for so little payoff.
Yeah. Anyway, so there was like a bunch of old Jewish people and my mother.
Uh-huh.
So a bunch of old Jewish people.
Larry, why are you reaching for the Googler? You don't even like
It was arugula, it was arugula.
All right, whatever.
It's a different thing. It's not a noodle, it's a pastry. But my grandmother starts yelling at her 80-something-year-old brother for taking a piece of pastry.
Uh-huh.
It's
She just screams that he doesn't like it, and he's just sitting there holding the pastry. And we had to leave because he was shaking with laughter. And I'm like, we need to get something from the car.
yeah, and
So we get
I'm
outside.
like trying to contain myself.
Oh, anyway, that's why I'm how I am.
Yep. Hey, Joel, how's it going?
Oh, what's up, Joel? Welcome in, brother.
Hey, buddy.
Joel and Bogus Cheesecake and I are working on an item pack right now.
Oh, for real? That's awesome. That's a nice little collab. Yeah. Wow. Let's see. JJ said, I know you didn't come for me like that. My name is not Redemption Bartholomew
you're not.
Avocado Sauce the Third. You just ousted me. That's my name.
She came for your wake, dude.
Well,
Yes, and they sound like Miracle Max.
how's the weather down there, JJ? Anyway.
That's the is soft.
You do it to yourself. That's the thing I don't understand.
Res-
You set yourself up. You pull your pants down. You
Yo,
present,
no. Don't go any
and then
further
someone
with
comes
that.
right on up and boot right in the middle, and you're surprised.
JJ, that's what you get for clipping what you did last night. I'm not even going to say what you clipped last night. I don't want to talk about it. We should pick our... Omni, pick your 2 words.
All right, yeah. For me, I'm gonna keep it easy. I'm gonna go with whisper and spectacle. I want to go with those two.
Oh, okay.
So
Those are very antithetical of one another.
I like the idea of a quiet spectacle. Not everything needs to be loud, like boisterous. I debated going tempestuous spectacle, but it seemed the obvious one, and I didn't want to go with that. So
Delete the word.
let's make y'all sweat.
Okay, there we go. No.
Oh, I already got an idea for that.
Alert.
Yeah.
Don't try me.
My last name is not Sauce, for Christ's sake.
No, it's
Mr.
herring.
Sauce.
It's red herring.
Oh yeah. Why did I think of that? You two are so good with the you got Enoch Coffin and you got Alakazam. I should be red herring. That's good.
My name. I don't know what you're talking about.
That's an awesome name.
That's 100% my real actual name.
Red herring's so good. Can I use that? Can I have
Yeah,
that?
of course.
Yeah.
Okay,
I-
awesome. Thank you. That's
well,
awesome.
Why are you saying, yeah, I came up with it. First of all,
No, you can take full credit
Larry,
for it.
half of your ideas are mine.
Well,
yeah,
I mean,
but the bad one.
yeah, that's right. The bad ones come from Alec. Yeah.
Now I do.
The bully from a
Yeah,
pup
no,
named
that's-
Scooby Doo. Oh my god! Please don't remind me of a pup named Scooby Doo. That okay? The intro soundtrack, kick ass.
That was a
That
slash.
show is so dope. That's not where I learned what that term meant at all.
Dope.
Okay. Just saying.
Elliot.
I am nothing if not a fount of movie knowledge. Well, we appreciate you. Odie, gotta head home. I'll do my best to come back to the stream. See you soon, all. Well, have a safe trip home. I appreciate you hanging out with us, even when you're in the office, man. That's awesome. You drive safe. My
Drive
words.
safe.
Actually, okay. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna let chat. Which of these words would you want to see? And I'm gonna pick one that I want. That's how we'll do it. So whoever says the first word.
He actually already has it picked out. This is the red herring.
Yeah.
I don't. Red herring would be a great pen name, though.
It would be, seriously.
Stage name.
Tarnished. Did
Tarnished.
anyone,
It's too tarnished.
Oh, tarnished. Okay, tarnished is definitely the popular one here right now.
did anyone else
Tempestuous.
watch Red Green, or is it just me?
I don't know what you're talking
Red green.
All right. The Red Green Show? No?
I don't know what you're
How old
talking
is
about.
it?
Old.
Are you dating yourself here? Like,
Yeah, I'm dating myself.
He's literally like an 80-year-old in a 31-year-old's body.
I mean,
Not even 31.
that's what
Almost 31.
Yeah, Canadians who know
Canadian
who it is.
classic. Okay.
What up? It was a Canadian show.
Okay, well, Joel and Kev would know. So like, there you go. So-
Those are cool people. I'll give you that.
All right.
That's
Tarnished
fair.
and Tempestuous. Actually, I'm gonna go. Well, Tempestuous was probably what I was gonna go with, and the fact that you guys want to see that, we'll do Tarnished and Tempestuous.
Nice.
Do the tea episode early. Okay. So from here,
Who doesn't like duct tape, Kev?
duct tape.
That was his whole thing. Is he would fix stuff on the show and like do like little handy projects, but he just used duct tape for everything.
That's how much my dad didn't know me. He was trying to ask him what to get me for my birthday one year. He's like, I remember in college she talked a lot about duct tape because I was doing a project and had to use colored duct tape. He's like, maybe I'll just get her a bunch of duct tape.
And I was like, don't do that.
Duct tape. What an exciting gift. Here's some shit
My
to fix
grandmother
your
once
fucking
got
house.
me kitchen sponges for my birthday.
Oh my god.
I was excited about those.
I would literally rather get nothing.
We did. I didn't have to get sponges from the store. We had the
Oy.
sponges when we needed them.
Ugh. Okay, well, let's on that note, let's move to the part of the show where we pick two words from this list, combine them together to make prompts, and I encourage you to pick words that might not go together, just to make it more interesting. So, Ina and Alec, go ahead.
You want to go first?
Sure. I actually really liked the Whisper and Spectacle together, if that's okay. If I don't want to like take your bag, Omni, if you had an
No,
idea.
no, you're perfectly good. These words are in a pool. I do not claim ownership over any of them. It's first come, first serve.
Whisper.
This is,
Spectacle.
This is
That bastard.
No, I like the idea of Whisper and Spectacle. I really immediately just thought of when you're trying to build excitement or tension and like things kind of start off quiet, or you have somebody who's making an announcement or giving a speech, and they start out really soft and hushed, and you're kind of at the edge of your seat trying to listen and really pick up on what they're saying before you would have like that big crescendo. So I think it could be a form of like an oratory address or a way that either speeches tend to be delivered. It could be a figurehead or a person that's very charismatic, maybe a cult leader or leader of a resistance or something like that. Like that's how they speak. What they do is they start off with a whisper and end with a bang.
See, that reminds me a lot of, I think we were talking about this in the last episode. I don't know why, but I'm getting a bit of deja vu. We were talking about, some point, we were talking about Teddy Roosevelt. Teddy Roosevelt's, like, saying was speak softly and carry a big stick. Like,
Yeah.
so that's exactly
Yeah,
what that
that's
reminds
it.
me of. Like, the whole idea is just, like, speak quietly, but, like, enunciate very well, and people will just
Mhm.
hang on every word that you say. Also get shot in the middle of a speech and keep talking. That's also a good way to do it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, speaking softly.
He spoke softly because he got shot. So
See, what I think about that too is like there's even bits of like, okay, what are we going to talk about and what are we going to only whisper about? Like what aspects of our history are like we should mention them and it should be a part of something that, but like we don't focus on it. It's just kind of talked about in whispers, like the gossip and rumor, that's covered, and then like the public spectacle that helps like kind of cover that up, like almost propaganda is what I think of when I think of whisper and spectacle. Is like those kind of whisper campaigns of propaganda.
So what if we make that into like how news is delivered or communicated? So you've got like what would be your public spectacle of like news presentation, like oratory,
Town speakers.
town speakers,
Yeah.
and then you have the people who kind of deliver the news more secretively, like the whispers of things. So what's spoken about, what's not spoken about.
Or you could even have like if you want to take it in a technological aspect of like, okay, here's ways that people can communicate, like almost like a megaphone. It would be like spectacle, and then you think of like whisper would be like literal, like almost like speaking stones. So it's like you have whisperers or like whisper stones or something like that. Like, what if
So-
you have geodes that can store not just energy but store actual speech?
See, that's that's an interesting idea. What I think of when you're saying that is, I'm a Magic player, so everything I think of fantasy-wise always relates back to a card in Magic. There's a card called Disinformation or Misinformation Campaign,
Yeah.
and the art depicts people just whispering amongst a crowd. And the whole idea is like they're saying one thing, and the entire crowd hears that, and then they go home and tell their friends that or their family that, and it spreads. So it's sort of that's what I think of. It's just like you have people delivering the news. But then you have these people in the crowd that are saying, that's all nonsense. This dictator is doing this, blah, 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 and that sort of thing.
Oh, I
Just
mean,
sort of.
Did that just become too real?
That's
Well,
literally
I knew it was a Dimir card. I knew it the second you called it by name. I was
Yeah,
like, oh,
it's
that
it's
had
from
to be it.
city. It's from the
Yeah.
city of Guilds, Ravnica. It's the
Yeah.
Guilds of Ravnica. That's what it's from. That's right.
But that's literally like that was a propaganda tactic where it's like they would have someone give an address and you'd have whisper campaigns where people would go into like taverns and bars and restaurants and be like, "Hey, but I fucking heard that he's got this," and then it like the news spreads 10 times faster that way.
Oh,
yeah, absolutely. Because like,
I know there
Gossip
was,
spreads
there
much
was even
faster.
there was even a king that like he wanted the people were dying of malnutrition because they wouldn't eat root vegetables and things like that. So he's like, "Oh well, I'm growing them on the royal gardens, but they're illegal. You're not allowed to take any." But he told his guards to be really lax in their patrols, so people would steal them to be big sneaky like law breaking boys, and they were like accidentally getting themselves nutrition. And the king was like, "These fucking idiots!" Like
That's
when
a- yeah, you get a child to eat their vegetables.
yeah, when I told them to do it, they said no. But as soon as they're like, "Haha, look at me, big rule breaking sneaky boy," then they do it.
so like that's exactly how marijuana works.
So
No,
you
it's
gotta,
not.
you gotta like you can't just drop that, Red. There has to be something beyond just
Yeah,
that.
don't explain.
You set this up, yeah.
Wait, move on.
Well, no, okay. Well, I mean, it's a reverse psychology tactic, but yeah, it doesn't really make sense for like illegal substances in that regard. Because it's like if you, just like you said, if you make something illegal, it's going to be more desirable for that reason. Like,
Yeah.
so like it's just like, oh yeah, I'm doing something. I'm being a bad boy by smoking this herb. It's just like okay.
It's what was it the Barbara Streisand effect, where it's like if you call attention to it, it makes it a way bigger deal, and it makes it so much like if you had just shut up about it, it would have like disappeared from public perception.
Yeah.
But because you like had to make a big deal about it, it makes it so much worse. So it's like there has to be news that's delivered through big public spectacle, and then there has to be news that's whispered, but that gets it out much faster.
Well, it's that whole word of mouth thing.
Canada, Joel.
Come to
I kinda
Canada, it's all
like
good
the
here.
idea.
Not
Yes,
after what
it's
happened in
definitely
Ottawa. I'll
material.
pass on that.
I kind of like the idea of I do like the idea of town criers and that kind of thing. That's definitely a thing that isn't really talked about very much often nowadays outside of small towns. Like there really aren't town criers, but there are the folks who are like the communal news source. Because you have like a smaller town of like what 500-600 people, the news goes from like okay, what's happening around town and what's happening outside of our insulated little town. And there's like most people are just busy doing their life. There's like those those anywhere from 1 to like 10 folks that hang out at the bar. That if you were to walk up and talk to them or buy them a drink, you might as well be turning on CNN or like whatever news source you want because basically you're just going to get a news update,
Yeah.
probably with alcohol involved. So I like the idea of maybe that's like an old, long-standing tradition of getting news and information about. Is like they have a tradition of town criers or town communicators who literally will go from like town to town and just talk with each other and establish news back and forth and bring it back and forth. It's become slowly more formalized. But I like the idea of also like some kind of a transmission. I think we agreed, Red, that like there's if there is any like radio wave tech, it's just beginning. It's
Oh
like
yeah,
the
it's the
leading
dawn
edge
of that stuff.
science.
There's still the vacuum tubes type stuff, you know. It's like brand new.
Right. But that
Like,
could be a useful way of getting like large news. I imagine there's only like one or two of those in a whole town. Those might be wired into some sort of like nationwide equivalent like alert system.
Yeah,
Where
like-
as opposed to like an alert, they have like the news update for the day. This morning, like they do in Avatar, the Avatar Legend of Korra, where they start off every episode with like, this morning in Republic City, the city falls because these rebels came back and yada yada yada. So like I imagine there's some guy on the horn talking in the transcontinental accent.
yeah.
Yeah, I like the idea of like the whispers being how the orators or like the criers get their information. So a lot of the news is passed on in whispers through airwaves or through devices, and then they make a spectacle out of it.
Yeah, or even like if they are on the most basic ham radio, like just like the crappiest technology, it's like those devices are literally called whispers, and then it's like the town criers go and make a big spectacle, like spreading that news so it goes farther and farther and creates this huge chain of like beacons of news going out.
So like what Omni and I were talking about in earlier episodes is like there's probably in most towns and cities there's probably just like between 1 and 20 radios. So like you probably have a very few select people that have these radios, listen to this shit, and then they go and spread it around like a wildfire. That's dangerous because you could be easily spreading misinformation. But in that regard, that creates conflict. It's just like people they believe everything that they hear on the radio because it's coming from a radio, so it must be true.
Telephone game situation of like what the original news was is definitely different once it gets to the final town.
Right.
Hmm.
How many channel points do they got to use for you to do the Pan Atlantic accent again?
To get me to do the
Transatlantic.
Transatlantic. Thank you. The transatlantic accent. None. I just need to actually have words to say.
You have to. Well, you see, the thing is, you can like run off 500 words like that in that accent. That's the problem with them. A public speaker that speaks so softly that the audience hangs upon each and every word. Town speakers, criers deliver the news, which blah blah blah. They talk so fast.
That's exactly the problem. It's that your brain has to keep pace or like be at least a step behind so it can throw crap in front of it. It's like playing leapfrog, basically, where you're like,
With
okay,
your tongue
I
and
need
your
to be
mind.
Right, exactly. And if one part of it fucks up, it immediately collapses. I will say, if we do run this setting on, I mean when we run this setting on a tabletop, I will totally open up every episode with the transatlantic.
Dude, this is a great
setting.
setting for Call of Cthulhu.
It would be.
Because Call of Cthulhu is a very social
Come
game.
on.
You know.
Previously on.
Previously on Writer's Block. Today's guests feature Ina Coffin and Alakazam.
That's beautiful.
I was just thinking of the end of Dragon Ball, and they're like, "What will happen next time? You get him, Goku!" Like,
Yeah.
You get him, Tiger.
Does Frieza destroy the planet? Does Goku actually finally finish powering up? Does Vegeta actually grow a soul? And does Bulma maybe start realizing she's a human surrounded by freakish monsters and shouldn't be on this planet? Next time on Dragon Ball Z. Yeah,
will
no.
Krillin die for the 70th time? All right.
Al just said, Red, you think every setting is great for Call of Cthulhu? No, I don't. I think most settings are.
Yeah.
I think that Forgotten Realms, absolutely not. I think that anything to do with high fantasy, horrible for Call of Cthulhu.
Yeah.
If you're doing medium to low fantasy, yes, every day of the week Call of Cthulhu. Absolutely, without a doubt. Lord of the Rings, no.
Well, Lovecraft was literally friends with the dude who created Conan the Barbarian, so
There you go.
it's like they long considered that their universes were a shared universe. Like,
Did
there's
he have friends?
he did.
Yeah, he did.
He
He had a good handful of friends.
racist, shitty friends, but he had friends.
Ravnica Call of Cthulhu, absolutely not.
I
The
could
one
do
setting
Call
I
of
would
Cthulhu
say
in-
in Magic that
in
would be good. Eberron?
you could do it.
It'd be
Steinbeck.
really hard. It'd be really hard to do that.
It's steampunk. You could totally do it.
No, but
Like,
it's
come on.
more like Aetherpunk because there's like more magic, right?
Yeah.
And Call of Cthulhu is like punishes you for using magic. I'd say the setting that would be good in Magic the Gathering, or like a fantasy setting, D&D-esque, would be Innistrad.
Yes.
Innistrad, I would say. That's a good setting for Call of Cthulhu. That's in a more medium to high fantasy.
What
universe.
about like a Barovia kind of situation?
Well, that's just already what it is, pretty much.
Well, I mean, you could
Like,
technically run
replace
that in
God
Call of
with
Cthulhu. I mean, you could do that. I'm sure it's been
I'm
done.
the ancient. I'm the land.
I am the flying spaghetti monster. Zendikar?
Zendikar?
Absolutely not. No. See, that's a really high fantasy setting. Everything's floating.
Okay, but what if you did like Amonkhet?
I
Post-
will put this out there.
Pre or
I
post?
think Magic the Gathering is one of those very few settings where, like, hey, maybe actually the in-house tool might be the best for it.
Well,
like-
yeah, it's just like
Like D&D is literally like bespoke perfect for that kind of thing.
I think most of your like more realistic settings fit well for Call of Cthulhu. I think sci-fi settings work for Call of Cthulhu too. Like if you were going to do something like, I don't know, The Expanse. Yeah, I'd say Call of Cthulhu. You don't have to always utilize the sort of sanity element. You don't always have to have big evil monsters. It's a social game. You know?
Right. It falls in that same sort of zone as like World of Darkness.
Yeah.
Where
Well,
it's
I'm
like-
running AES with Call of Cthulhu.
Yeah, it's actually working pretty well so far.
Yeah, and sanity's more of like a mana measurement. I mean, I have been ticking away at people's sanity, but like
Stargate. Yeah.
Stargate, sure, yeah, why not? You know, it's
I can see Stargate actually. It's
if a
pretty-
setting
Or
is
the
human or
alien?
transhuman, alien.
At a certain point, that's basically
Yeah. Stargate Call of Cthulhu is just on the Nostromo.
Well,
Like
there's
this.
there's a game for that. You know, like, there's actually a game that like specializes
there's
in
a
like
game for everything.
no, they got a game for fucking everything. They got a game in the kitchen sink.
Okay, we gotta get back on track.
Yes.
We do.
Also, thank you, Dan. Our little Pomeranian has the best name. Her name is Floof. She's a puppy goof.
Yes.
We actually are at an hour and 35. So do we want to take a little break and then come back? Maybe.
I wouldn't be averse to that.
Okay. We're probably not going to take guest prompts or not guest prompts. We're probably not going to take audience prompts this time since we're sort of behind, but that's okay. Not every episode needs to be the same exact thing. This is an improv show after all. Stay tuned. We'll be back in about 5 to 10 minutes. In the meantime, if you want to submit prompt words that we may or may not get to, I encourage you. Make sure you highlight your message. That is the best way to submit a prompt for me to see it. So we'll be back in 5 to 10 minutes. Hello, we're back. Did I scare you? I hope I did. Boo.
Yeah.
Terrified. Redemption, never do that again. So we're gonna
I
go.
never come back again.
Don't you ever come back. Okay, fine. We'll go back to break. Damn. I like the prompts here: solace and serenity. Okay. Those are good prompts.
There were like some other highlighted ones a little bit further up.
Speakeasy, I thought was a fun one.
Oh
Or
yeah,
pretty
yeah.
cracking.
Whoa, you guys are really chit chatting. Oh, JJ, did you give me 2 gift subs while I was gone? Thank you.
Yeah. We saw it.
Hell
Yeah.
yeah. Thank you very much. I
Heck yeah.
appreciate you, JJ. You're too good to me. I swear to God. Even after I was making fun of you for being short.
JJ's an amazing person, and there's a reason I'm lucky to have her in my community.
JJ's good people.
Yeah.
We need to get
Yeah,
her
I'm
on the
gonna find
D&D.
you on Twitter after this. We have things to discuss.
Yeah.
I'll be expecting you.
Like Disney movies. Okay. We're gonna go another half an hour or so. So, folks, just want to let you know. Honestly, if Omni's feeling up for it, if he's not, it's totally fine. After these two leave, if we want to do some like prompts,
Yeah,
cover
I'd
the
be good with
community
that.
prompts. Yeah, I mean, I'd have to fix the formatting, but it should be fine. But yeah, let's get right into it. Let's not waste any time. So Ina and Alec, I'm gonna let you to pick the next 2 words to slap together and make a prompt with, because I really like Whisper and Spectacle. We literally created a faction of newsies. So
You did Whisper and
I did
Spectacle.
Whisper and Spectacle, so I'll
So,
let you go, babe.
I really like Tarnished. And I'm between either Sail or Tempestuous. I'm gonna go with Tempestuous because that's awesome.
tempestuous and tarnished. Now I came up with the word tempestuous, and now I can't spell it. There we go. That's an
I'm missing
interesting
an S.
prompt. I'm missing an S. Tempestuous. 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 There we go.
He's just making up a cool new word.
Yeah.
Don't be
Second
hating.
word made up. Boom.
Don't be hating on my friend Red.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I'm making up words here. If I ever make a typo, it's not a typo. I made the word
New
up.
Shakespeare.
Absolutely.
That's Mr. Red Herring you're talking to. right?
Absolutely.
So for Tarnished and Tempestuous, like my big thing that I'm thinking of is like, I still, like I said, I like that Tarnished in the sense of like, okay, so we do have, like you were even saying earlier, like a post-mundane world where it's like, all right, the big catastrophic, like the huge cataclysmic, like the war is over, people have settled into a new routine, they've like figured out how they're going to be living their lives. It's like where you go have the nice shiny brand new civilization, and it's begun to settle a little bit and begin like you have that tiny bit of tarnish, like that little kind of like just dirt around the edges that just shows like people have settled into what the world is going to be,
Yeah. But there.
and I think like tarnished shows the like a world that is comfortable. It's not destroyed, it's not decaying, it's not
It's
like falling apart, it's lived in.
Yeah.
I see. So you're going for like the difference between literally like there's showroom cars and showroom kind of thing where it's like, it's technically at the peak of its functionality, it's peak beauty, but it's also sterile and not used and there's no life to it. And you take that car off the lot, run it around for about 5-6 years, and that's the car someone who's actually alive, not just like some weird robot.
It shows like a
Like
sense
me.
of history and that time has passed and people have lived here and it's evolved as you've evolved.
It's like that little bit of tarnish. It's like for me, it's like, and the way I relate to tempestuous is like the day-to-day volatile emotions that everyone goes through. You then kind of like settle them down the tiniest bit, and it's like this is now where we've gone from like the big wild tempestuous past of like the cataclysm to now just like nope, just calm. Like our big issues now are like petty arguments, like the little things, and that's really, it's like I said, it's the same as a tarnish, a little tiny bit. Every little thing is like it tarnishes you a little bit more and more to have these volatile tempestuous emotions and conflicts, and if you get pettier and pettier, then there's like the risk of like, well, we don't want to escalate to how it was. We like the comfort. So people have this sense of like we have to have a bit of camaraderie and like get along with each other because we can't go back. It's like this is good. We're happy here. Let's not fuck around.
I like your thinking. My immediate thought, trailing off of what you were saying, tempestuous is like, obviously we were talking about the definition of it being very volatile emotion, or it can literally just mean very stormy. Simple as that. Tarnished. The place is tarnished because they've weathered the storm. And they're still weathering the storm, and they're sort of feeling the reverberations of the leftover previous world of conflict. So yeah, see, like the first thing I imagine, like I like painting little pictures in my head when I'm trying to like write for settings, is sort of like you see this nice city street, and it's like there's new buildings and stuff like that being erected, and like you see people working on new stuff, but there's old shelled out buildings, vehicles that have been like converted from the war to more like civilian-esque vehicles and stuff like that. There's still, it's like post-war London and World War II. Things are like completely and utterly destroyed, but there's that light of hope. Things are being rebuilt, chapels are being erected, and that sort of thing. And there's constantly reminders, you know.
It's the same thing. Like when I think, I mean, I know when I'm homebrewing, like obviously you want to be like, okay, here's the mountains and the rivers and the the big giant flashy things that everyone likes
Sure.
that you can see from like the big giant map. But it's like, okay, but what about the patina on that one statue in town? Like, what about like the little tiny bits of grime that are on everyone's clothes? Like, around the edges of all the vehicles. Like, what are the little touches that show that this world is actually lived in?
Right.
Yeah, because you got like what'd you say, sorry?
Oh, the scars that are left behind.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, no, be that literal or more metaphorical in that regard.
It could even be a colloquialism for like, oh, this isn't a bombed out, destroyed shell of a building. Oh, it's just a little bit of tarnish. It's like, this is a tarnished building. This is just how we recall, like, the tarnished elements are the things that we kind of like gloss over and we're like, we're fine with this level of destruction because we know that we've survived it.
See, that's I think that is, we didn't pick the word post-mundane, but I think that's where the post-mundane element comes in here. People aren't like dreaded or like full of dread and like disheartened by all of this. They just see it as just like, oh, that's a fixer-upper.
Yeah.
has like a literal active bomb in the side of the building. Just it's a fixer-upper.
Yeah, it's not a fear and a sense of like, oh my god, think of the horrors, but more of like, hey, look what we made. We survived. Look at this. Look at us.
Yeah, it's a positive
thought?
outlook on things.
Look at us. Look at us. Who would have thought?
It's like I think
It's literally the vibe. It's just like, look at us. Who would have thought? Not me.
I mean, think of No, go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm talking a lot.
Oh, I think there's like some element of like historical preservation to that. So I think of how many historical sites that we have, or where you have those villages where, if you're buying this old house, you have to kind of keep it looking of a certain period. It has the memories, it has the reflections. If you buy a Victorian home, it's got the wearing and the original hardwood from, where the furniture had been for so long, or where people walk the most on the stairs.
Yeah, if you buy a house in like Savannah, Georgia, you're not allowed to paint it whatever color you want. They're like, no,
really?
No, we have this, and this is the way it's going to be.
Yeah, it even extends to the type of buildings you can build in some regions. Like, for example, one of the things that I'm a little slightly irritated by is in New Hampshire, where I'm initially moving. We're going to eventually probably go to Vermont. But in New Hampshire, you're not allowed to build tiny homes because you're not allowed to build mobile homes.
Yeah.
Because New Hampshire has a law or like a set of regulations in the books that say that if you're going to build a house, it needs to be something to be passed down from one generation to the next. So, yeah, that sort of thing is prominent, especially in some of the older parts of the country. And I imagine that's very similar to a lot of things overseas. You don't want someone to buy out the old Richmond house. It's been here since the early 1600s. And that fucker painted it bright orange. I would be pretty pissed about that too.
Well, it's like, okay, if we think of it as like the scars of the world, they don't look at it as like, oh, look at the destruction. It's like, no, this is the tarnished areas. That's the delightful little colloquialism that they put on it. It's like, oh, it's tarnished.
It's just it's their nice little euphemism for the word, like, oh yeah, it's fucked up.
And it's like, and all of those things, yeah, it is a very tempestuous, wild, emotional, like crazy, like turbulent past. But it's like, I don't know, look at how delightfully we're looking at it.
See, they use that in the same way that we use the word rustic.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
It has
rustic.
rustic charm.
Yes.
My dad is a.
plumbing in this.
My father was a. I very much care for my father, but he's a terrible cook. His knife skills are mediocre. I went to culinary school, so I can say these things. So I have a cool piece of paper on my shelf. The way he cut things, he said, "My cuts are rustic." I'm like, "No, they're not. They're big chunks that you can't eat." Like when I think of the word rustic, I think of like not good enough. Like it's just sort of like it's rustic, so it's okay. It's how they used to do it, so that's
I
fine.
had a chef friend, like a friend of mine when I was on my Disney college program who was doing the culinary program,
Mm.
and I made my chicken soup with matzo balls, and my mother always made really big chunks of carrots because she really liked big chunks of carrots.
Yeah.
So I made it that way.
Hated
And
it,
he's
right?
like, "The soup is really good." He's like, "You cut your vegetables in a very rustic way."
The gentle, I'm not trying to hurt your feelings, but there's like no kind way of saying
And
this.
nobody in their 20s wants to eat a massive piece of carrot.
What an indictment.
It is very good soup, though.
So basically, this world is like the Pinterest craft project. It's like, you know, you take all of these like broken homes, and then they're gonna, you know, so you like I said, you look at it as, oh, it's not devastated, it's tarnished.
It's well, we could, you know, there's probably people that lived in these like shelled buildings, right? Like they're just sort of like, oh yeah, just a bit of a draft, and there's like a giant fucking hole in the wall, like.
Like, you've ever seen the pictures where it's like they'll tear down buildings in England that have been there for forever. You can see like where they had the original outside of the building and then they built bricks on top of it and just like had like 6 layers of buildings built from
That's
like all
cool though.
Yeah. So
There's an element to that that's really cool.
It's like a collage.
There's a bit of like, oh yeah, look at this like bombed out, destroyed husk of a building, but we built on top of it. And now it's like we incorporated it into the foundations of what we have now.
It's a good way to preserve history. Yeah, it's a good way to preserve history. Also,
It's only a
those-
flesh wound.
don't need a flash wound. The whole building's just gone. It's like we have a few bricks left. It's fine. For those of you haters out there that don't believe I went to culinary school, here's my degree. So shut the fuck up.
I'm
I
sorry, I
haven't
can't
read
possibly
too,
read
it's
that.
just
You can't even read it. Yeah, hold on. This I get to dox myself. This is my full name. You can't read because it's backwards.
nice. We
Nice.
can all make out the avocado.
We could just wait till you start typing in the Google Docs and it tells us your name.
Oh, that's I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, like if you highlight something or you start to do shit in Google Docs, it totally says like who it is as your name. Just so you know.
Yeah, folks at home, my name is Red, and my last name is not fucking Sauce. It is 5 letters though, so you're not half wrong.
It's herring.
Harry,
It is Herring. Yeah.
already been decided.
1, 2, 7 words or 7 letters. Yeah. Anyway,
That's it.
It's funny. You guys are talking about like these old bombed out things. I'm actually over here drawing like a picture of like a little small town in the setting, I think, or like a slightly bigger city in the aftermath, and like everything is cobblestone. And I was wondering why I was doing that, and now I'm thinking like,
Minecraft.
well, one, Minecraft, yeah, but 2, also because cobblestone is like one of the easiest
Well,
things to work with.
Yeah.
I
So
would, not to throw you off, but has anyone ever read about the iron harvest that they have in Europe every year, where they go and find the remains of like landmines and artillery shells and like crazy shrapnel from World War I and II, and they get thousands of pounds of it every year because there's so much goddamn shrapnel left over from World War I and II
Holy shit.
in Europe, especially in France. And
yeah.
they do this iron harvest every year, but it's like it becomes a really valuable resource for like recycling metal and like melting it down and doing so it's like you think of these broken scraps from a horrific conflict and like, oh well, we can use this for good now. Look at how we can recycle this and have fun.
I like that. That feels like the sort of thing that, like, depending on the region, I could see a lot of like those old diesel tanks are probably being scavenged. We talked about like a scavenger faction in the past. That sounds like exactly the sort of thing that they would be up to. It's like, what are you guys doing? Oh, we're just knee deep in this old battlefield, dredging through all these old tanks. Why? Well, because copper sells for like 80 drachma per yard, and why wouldn't we?
Yeah, it's like, hey, look,
It's there.
this
Yeah.
this tea kettle might have been made out of like old artillery shells, but like, I mean, come on, it still works. It brews, like
No,
Tastes a bit
I-
like gunpowder, but it's fine.
Yeah. It has a very
It's not
alarming
a-
tendency to blink if I let it go too long.
No, I think of like with that Tarnish thing. Which city is it that after the bomb went off, they had like people were just, they were just turned
and
to
both
ash.
Hiroshima and Nagasaki,
Yeah,
they were
both Hiroshima and
completely
Nagasaki.
vaporized against like floors and walls, so you can just see like an outline of a person on like the steps of different buildings in Nagasaki.
I think
or
it's literally
Hiroshima.
called silhouetting. I think
Yeah.
that's the term for
Because
it.
like it was so hot that it just like and they're vaporized and just
And they're just there.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
terrifying.
So it's like the tarnish isn't literal actual like, oh, here's a little bit of grime that's built up, but it's like, no, the tarnish is our memory of this horrific past, and so they take history and they're like, we need to remember it, but we'll put a nice positive spin on it.
I don't know if they ever went nuclear in that regard. If that's where you're going
No.
with that.
Yeah, no, I think we definitely. I don't think they've ever gone.
They
that
were
far,
right
but
there. They were this close. They were this
Yeah.
close to being like, atom bomb.
Yeah, 20 years more if this war had gone on, and they would absolutely be nuking each other. But I think the discovery of the geode engine kind of made nuclear power unnecessary because now you can draw power from the ley lines. Literally, that's just like that's free power.
Yeah, Unearthed
Like-
is the prequel to AS.
Yeah. Oh God, that's a headcanon that could work actually.
That's a weird
Kinda
headcanon. That is terrifying.
Like that, or it's the alternate reality of AS. Like if they didn't end up destroying the world at the end of all things, like they dodged it. 90-degree turn from the end of all things.
Yeah.
And AS kind of rode that course into the ground.
Okay. Well, I like Tarnished and Tempestuous. I think we're good with that. I like the
Yeah.
idea. I like the imagery we're building with that.
100%. I agree. That's a fantastic. I think those are fantastic. It's right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's-
Let's see. What are we looking at on time? Oh, we're doing okay. Whoever wants to pick next two words.
Let's see. I'll take a crack at it. So, I want to use. Let's use towering and sail in one.
Ah, yes,
So-
both of your words.
Both of my words.
You
Yes.
narcissist.
Right. You know it. Look, I have to do it, or else I won't have an ego at all at this point. So I know why the hell is it typing that? There we go.
Bracket.
Okay. Yes, random brackets. You can tell I'm working currently in a Photoshop thing because that's a command line. So my thought on this is again going back to those groups that roam sort of the areas between cities, the same folks that delivered us the geode engine or geode tech and and discovering the ley lines. We also now have like these towering and sails. I like the idea that maybe some of these communities, the ones that are not the crazy raiders we talked about in the past, but the actual inventors, that maybe in addition to the geode engine, they might be pioneering other forms of energy and other ways of sort of going back to the past to get answers to the future. And so I like the idea of like these large. Have you ever seen a vertical windmill?
Yeah.
Not not the ones with the blades like we all think of, but it almost looks kind of like a Twizzler, kind of like a massive Twizzler.
Yeah.
Like a gyrocopter, like stuff
Exactly.
that Da Vinci came up with.
Exactly. I like the idea of people using that. I'm not sure they're at the point of using it to generate electricity yet, but I like the idea of them using this clean, free energy for doing the things that it's always done. Like we used to use water to make grist mills and run mills of all kinds, and now they're using wind to power mills of a different sort. So moving away from that heavy, more disgusting industrialized power source to like, okay, we've moved this factory off of coal and diesel onto like these giant wind or like these towering sails. So now in like some of the more like modern, rapidly modernizing cities, you're seeing the appearance of these vertical windmills or corkscrew windmills to power things that were once relied on actual engines. And that in combination with geode power is unlocking a crazy amount of energy. It's like the reemergence of doing the same thing in like rivers and that kind of thing. We're starting to see like river wheels and water wheels returning, and because combined with geode tech, it actually is a viable source of significant power. You don't even need to turn it into electricity; it's just enough.
What I'm wondering is if geodes are being used as like batteries, if it's something that it's like, okay, having these like aerial sprue, like vertical windmills is something that's like, okay, well, we can't generate enough of a charge to overcharge these any more than they already are, but it can keep them from losing their charge naturally over time. Like it's just this maintenance. Like we have it, and then
Backup battery.
kind of like a backup. Yeah.
I mean, that would make sense. I always thought of like the geode engine. The geode engine is less of like a battery as much as it's like a relay. Like the idea of ley lines is that they're kind of just like all over the planet. It's like an invisible electric Wi-Fi signal that they just figured out how to tap into, and the geode engine's just the receiver for it. But like you could use it to conduct other forms of energy. I'd imagine it's a conduit basically for you Minecraft players. Not the same kind, but the same sort of idea.
Definitely milling is always going to be popular for something like that. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there's other cities where they probably would have more access to the ley lines. Like if you want to compare it to how we have Wi-Fi here, if you think about more rural areas or people who live a little bit further away from cities, they would need to have some kind of secondary source or some kind of secondary access, because the nature of it being so far away, they're not going to have as strong of a power source or strong of a signal. So they can be really.
Or even an option is like we can't get our hands on geodes, we just don't have access, or like we're too far from any ley lines.
Don't
It's
have
like,
the resources.
we have these, and it's not great, but it's good enough.
We have dial-up. It gets us online.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think that's very fair. I like the idea that there are like corridors where the ley lines are probably more powerful, and
Yeah.
also work because geode engines they're not expensive. They're easier to make than a diesel engine, but the capacity to manufacture them isn't there yet. We're still in that like pre-industrialized creation of it. So it's that sort of energy that's just starting to kick off. So I know we talked about like the idea of diesel being used by a lot of nations that are like, we haven't gotten to the geode engine yet. We now see its potential, but we're slowly turning over to it in the same way that we in the modern age are slowly turning our cars into electric or hybrid vehicles.
Yeah.
But also I can imagine there's a number of people who are doing kind of like the parallel third line, like the third rail. Like there's the people who have the old gas cars and they swear by my Harley will be the same without a V8 in it, without a big two-stroke engine. And then you have the yes, but my Tesla runs perfectly fine and it's incredibly cool and it's a thing from the future. And you have the guy in the third end who's like, yeah, but I just get canola oil from McDonald's and I've adapted my car to run on that. And you're like, so you have a fry car? And you're like, yeah, I have a fry car.
Smells like fresh
Well,
French
Honda
fries.
Civic fall into this.
Yeah.
Right here.
Yeah, I think it is like the third way. Like
This is
there's
what
this
Omni's talking about. It's so far it's off of the screen. This is where you are. And this is where Fry Car is.
I definitely, I think that it's like this is something that we don't have the options of like the ley lines or even geodes. It's like we got to make something work because we got to live.
Right.
Right.
There's probably steam
okay,
engines.
You might have like one person has the fiber optic and like one person has like the like all these nice cables and things. It's like, okay, well, I got the rabbit ears and the signal's sort of whatever, but
Well water versus city water.
exactly.
True. Yeah. Very often, well water is going to be better for you.
Yeah.
Sort of depends. I'm thinking about that. You said vertical windmill, and you're talking about like the gyroscopic screws and stuff like that. I thought of the little signs that they put out at barbershops.
Oh yeah, no, the barber's balls. I think that's what they're called. Yeah.
It's red and white because they used to do bloodletting at barbershops.
Okay, I didn't know that. That's
Well, yeah,
cool.
yeah. Well, remember? Have you guys seen Flapjack? Marvelous
Yes.
Misadventures of Flapjack. The doctor. He was a barber and a surgeon. That was actually a thing. Barbers would also be surgeons.
I mean, I believe it.
Yeah,
Like
nice
same way
deal.
the carpenters were often surgeons with pirates.
Yeah.
So like, Because a saw is a saw, and if you need his leg off, it'll cut through a femur if it'll cut through a thing of oak.
Wasn't there was a Civil War doctor who had to amputate it was like somebody's leg or something, and he did it so fast that he cut off the leg and also cut off his assistant's fingers, and then like he had an assistant who died of a heart attack during the surgery because he was so shocked at like the dude like losing his fingers. And so this dude had a 300% kill rate with this one surgery because the patient died, his assistant died, and his other assistant who was watching died.
While y'all were racistly arguing with your brother, he was studying the blade.
I mean, that is a thing. I do know that, like, there is those, like, jokes of, like, it's from that old movie, Atlantis, Lost Empire, which is, I think, one of Disney's best films.
Yes.
In it, Dr. Sweet talks about how, like, this hacksaw can get through a femur in 30 seconds. I think it can get it down to 20. And it's like, yeah, no, the surgeons in that age, you really don't have anesthesia. So your best way to get through a surgery like that is go fast. So
Yeah.
that person is experiencing that trauma as swiftly as possible. And
Well,
hopefully their heart doesn't
They had
come out
so
on the
many
table.
people that they had to help.
Also, like in Yes Man, when he's watching 127 hours, he's like, "You're halfway through. Just snap it off. Come on."
Yeah. I still haven't watched that film.
There's,
it's rough.
Did you guys ever
Yeah.
hear about the story of King Henry V when he was still the prince? He actually got an arrow through his head.
Ooh.
He was wearing a
think I actually-
helmet. He was wearing a helmet and an arrow. See, people don't realize arrows fly at such a high velocity that as soon as they hit something, they don't just stop. They rumble. They like shake. If you've ever seen an arrow hit off of a piece of metal, you'll see the shaft of it wiggle like violently.
Yeah.
So what happened was it hit him in the neck, didn't actually pierce anything, but it ricocheted up and into his helmet and lodged into his head right behind his eye. And they were able to get the arrow out, but the arrowhead was stuck. It was stuck in. So this guy had to
The
invent.
whole point is it would be more dangerous to have something pointed or serrated at the end because it would be very painful to pull it out or potentially cause more damage.
Yeah, but he was using I believe the arrow that he was struck with was a swallowtail. So it wasn't, well, maybe it wasn't a swallowtail. It was a regular arrowhead. It was just pointed. It might have been a broadhead. I'm not sure. I'm not very good with medieval arrows. But it got stuck in his head behind his eye. And they were trying to figure out, okay, the arrowhead is still stuck in his head. So how do we get it out? So this surgeon literally invented a tool that he like put it into the wound and turned it and expanded it and pulled the arrowhead out.
Nice.
But like
Leave it.
he accidentally pushed the arrowhead deeper into his head while he was in the middle of it. So he had to put a needle up his nose and like push the arrowhead back. It was a great. Could you imagine being King Henry in that time? Like that would have been the most he had to sit for like 2 or 3 days while this guy invented this thing with an arrow in the back of his head. Or like
I would
inside of his head.
literally I'd be like, so if I'm going to stay conscious, I'm going to be drunk off my ass on the finest wine in the world.
Oh, that's
And if
how
I'm not, I'm going to kill
Okay.
every person in this room.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But the
Can you
interesting
imagine like being there watching him being like, Henry, how's your head?
I have the worst migraine.
No, if anybody ever asks you how's your head, the correct answer is never had any complaints.
I'm sure they said that in like 1400s England.
Yeah.
Hey Red, how's your head?
I love it.
Never had any complaint.
Yes, bitch.
But the
You
whole
learned
thing,
nothing else today.
I have learned something intelligent and I'm happy about it. The if you ever look at King Henry V, there's a bunch of portraits of all the kings looking straight forward, but all of his painted portraits were him looking like this. Because this side of his face had such a horrible scar and disfigurement because it broke his cheekbone.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So yeah, you if you ever look up King Henry V, you'll always see him painted like this at 3/4 because he was never painted.
You would think they would just like alter the painting. It's not like they weren't altering the paintings anyway.
It was like
So-
it was like Van Gogh. You know, he never painted the side where he lost his ear.
Yeah, so that's something I can at least attest to as a portrait artist is like, so the reason why portraiture is easy, or I should say it's easy, the reason why it works is because you have the perfect reference for every little detail in someone's
Yeah.
face right there. So you can get things pretty hyper realistic, even with like only a moderate amount of skill. The problem is when someone's like, I've had this, people have been like, hey, I really don't like this tattoo. I really don't like my third chin. Can you get rid of it? I'm like, if I do that, I'm gonna make you look like this weird, unrealistic cartoon character because you change everything about your body with subtle alterations.
Yeah.
So like fixing one side of one person's head, what I discovered when you have to do something like that, what a human wants to do is make the eyes perfectly symmetrical, and then it looks wrong.
Yeah.
And there's nothing you can do on planet Earth to salvage it. So you're better off drawing people imperfectly than trying to fix them, which I think is a good life lesson.
I mean, that's what I do too. I don't do like painted kind of portraits, but I do like a version of portraits that's like slightly cartoonized. And that is a big thing. It's like people will be like, oh, can you like draw this person, but like change this little thing about them? I actually, to try to do for a logo for myself, took like a funny expression picture that I was making and drew myself. And I was talking to a friend of mine who's an artist. I was like, oh, I hate my nose. Like she's like sharing the picture. He's like, well, you could like make some slight alterations in the shading so it's not as prominent. I was like, no, I don't hate how I drew my nose. I hate that it is my nose. Like, if I change that, it will not be me because it takes away 70% of my face.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Because like one little thing that changed the face could like completely
Yeah, it
alter
makes a big
everything.
difference.
Yeah, you can't fuck with the human face when you're drawing it. That is the finest and fastest way to make a terrible piece of art.
But it's also my favorite thing to draw.
There was I'm
Second.
trying to remember. There was like a weird. I'm trying to remember his name. He's gonna drive me crazy. But it was like he realized that he's like, oh, I have. He had kidney stones or bladder stones, so he literally like took a knife and did it himself, just like sliced them all up into his perineum, and he pulled out. It was the size of an egg, so he had it dipped in gold, and he kept it for the rest of his life. It's
Oh
just
my
like,
god.
look at this shit, and it's like,
To think this came from Towering in Sales. I don't even.
This is
love
going to be fun when I go to bed in a few minutes.
Yeah.
This is fun.
You don't want to do surgery on yourself? Or...
At least you have perineum to do that too. That's nice.
JJ just said I love my third chin. Keeps me warm. In the winter. That's extreme. Welcome back, Odie. Sorry, I didn't see you come back in. Okay, so Towering and Still, yeah, that's great. We talked about Corkscrews and then Battle of Agincourt. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not where he got the wound, by the way. Agincourt was what Henry V was famous for, which is the most notorious battle in British history. Anyway, except for World War II and World War I, but we don't talk about those. So let's see, what words do we have left? We literally just had Mischief and Serpent left. So
Nice. Mischievous snake.
Sneaky snake. Mischief and that's Serpent. Okay, what do we do with mischievous snakes?
I kind of like the idea, like I threw around earlier, where you have like some kind of figurehead or some kind of organization that's the snake or the serpent or cobra or like something.
Cobra.
I guess not use that because, you know, but something like that, and like the mischief aspect of it, and like the fact that it was serpenticide is that as an act of rebellion against this group, or as like a threat against this group, or it could be their calling card that they kill snakes and then leave these dead snakes as like a warning.
yeah.
Okay.
I could, like I said, I still like the idea of like it's become this culling, but the tradition has a deeper meaning of rebellion. You know, that it's like, oh yeah, we pile up all these dead snakes because it serves a dual purpose of like we keep snakes out of, you know, homes and shit like that, but also it's like, hey, we're kind of poking at like this power group that is trying to infiltrate. Same way that we talked about like the whispers and like the rumor mongering and whatnot, like these snakes who would come in and like disrupt the peace of this world.
Yeah, it's to remember how we cut the head off of the snake.
Okay.
So it's like having these like mass cullings, like I said, it serves that purpose of like, okay, we literally are protecting ourselves and our children and like all these people because we're killing all these snakes that are, gonna hurt people, but also we're remembering like we can't allow this shit to happen. Like we have to be very careful and methodical in how we live our lives because like a snake could slither in and ruin everything.
Right, and if you make it a tradition or a celebration or something that all the community takes part in, or all the country or whichever area you put it in, then it kind of warns people a little bit deeper. It's like everybody will be against you if you do this,
Yeah,
or
look-
if you support this. It's like people will beat you in the streets.
Look at the Roman Colosseum. Take something horrific and then be like, no, it's fun, and people love it.
Like, okay, so what I'm thinking is, because my brain is like poodoo, I was thinking, as soon as you were talking about this, I just lost my train of thought, but we have a raid, so let's focus on that. Derek, thank you for the raid, man. Party of 9, welcome in, folks, welcome in, raiders. We were talking about snakes. I was gonna say something very profound, in earnest, stupid, but welcome in, folks. Glad to have you here. This is Writer's Block. This is an improv world building thing where we build worlds with friends with literal one-word prompts. So, we were talking about, we combined the words mischief and serpent. I was going to say that we were talking about, like, people, like a holiday, which, honestly, what you two were describing sounds a hell of a lot like St. Patrick's Day. The whole idea of, like, culling snakes and stuff like that. But it has more of, like, a metaphorical, rhetorical meaning rather than just, like, we're killing snakes. But the first thing that came to mind was Weasel Stomping Day. Do you guys know what I'm talking about when I say that?
Oh my god, it's definitely Weasel Stomping Day.
It's like Weasel Stomping Day. But with
Oh,
snakes.
weasels are cute.
It's a Weird Al Yankovic song that he did for Robot Chicken.
Yeah, it's not a real thing, thank god.
That's what I said earlier
Which,
in Fustimo when he was talking about, like, we were
Sort of
talking about
forward.
snakes.
yeah, no, Weasel Stomping Day. Also, Weird Al did the music for that.
Yeah. Weird Al's awesome. But thank you for coming in, Raiders. I hope you feel a little bit more special hearing that I was talking about stomping the heads of snakes with a boot.
And
see
then
here.
Weasel Stomping Day.
Let's see here. Okay, so yeah, well, honestly, we sort of have a reinvention of St. Patrick's Day, except you don't drink. You literally just actually do what St. Patrick's Day is all about.
It's
So-
named out.
Yeah, well, like I said, it is nice because it is a matter of like, okay, we have this culling, and it is important and helpful, but it also, like I said, it is metaphorical of like not just, literal snakes, but also metaphorical snakes.
Yeah, like biblical snakes, quote unquote.
If I may be so bold, Red, this sounds like something that would happen in the community you've been thinking about making. Like, it sounds dangerously, like the subtext of it sounds dangerously approaching grimdark. That's not a bad thing, because again, what is Noble Bright without a little grimdark occasionally splashed through it? It's like the Tower, a little bit of Noble Bright brutally splashed into 40K.
We have to have something to overcome.
Yeah, exactly. So I like that idea, though. That's a really fun idea for a holiday. Like, for some places, it's metaphorical, but in your place, it's like, nah, we actually go and grab snakes and and, like, basically...
We literally just kill snakes and eat them. Like,
Oh yeah, I can definitely see some places have it where it's like, no, you construct like a big, snake out of like, whatever little simple materials. It's like a wooden snake on like the little reeds,
Right.
and they like burn them in effigy or do this, and other people are like, no, we go out into the woods and we grab snakes and we cut their heads off.
Yeah, it's literally the it's like the old what are they called again? Pinatas, kind of where it's like, oh yeah, no, we're gonna go celebrate making an adorable effigy out of like paper and beat it. And another like actually in a non-real place because this doesn't happen on Earth, thank God. They're just like, but what if real animals stuffed with candy?
Are you okay, hon? Are you okay?
that's
What
fine.
is the status re your butthole?
Okay.
That's I'm glad I wasn't the only one reading chat.
I wasn't
I'm
looking at the
looking
webcam. but that
Han
sounds
is Han is a real life friend of mine. I've known him since the 2nd grade.
um,
Uh,
but no, I mean, any like noble right setting, you can still have like okay, everything's nice, but there has to be conflict for people to overcome and win.
Right.
So it's like
Yeah,
you
no,
have like the one time where people dress in the fucking like capriolet hats and like the crazy shit. Like you have to have a little tiny bit of conflict.
Also, it's like the conflict that it could have been representing was very, very long ago, because we've talked about how a lot of our holidays that we have now have a very dark history to them.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if you think about like Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day, like Halloween.
Halloween's really has a weird
Columbus Day,
history.
that's a big one.
I've actually talked about the history of Halloween. Maybe I should do a little clip on that or something. But Halloween has a very weird history. Let me just say
Yes.
that much. It's an Irish holiday. But people don't know that.
Sure not.
It's a very weird
Yeah.
Irish holiday. Started with turnips, carved turnips.
Yeah.
Uh,
I will say I've seen pictures of the actual carved turnips, and it's horrifying.
I mean, that's the point, right? Like,
Yeah.
5-day Mayo.
Yeah. But I
Okay,
do
Han. Okay, don't say shit like that. Come on, Logan. Jesus Christ. Oh,
oh, boy.
It's gonna be one of those things where years from now, those like the what is it that we said for like the ash people? What did you
silhouetted. The
silhouetted?
silhouettes. Yeah.
There's gonna be like silhouettes in the bathroom.
Oh, God.
Oh,
Can we make jokes about that? I mean, it was 70 years ago. Like,
I mean, I don't think we can say it's too soon. But
oh,
you
no, it's
know,
definitely not too soon. It just depends. Good night, Derek. Much love to you,
Right.
man. Have a great day at work tomorrow, man.
um,
5-day Mayo, yeah, Cinco de Mayo. Like in America, we have holidays to celebrate nothing, so we can drink.
yeah. And we took like some really important holidays from other regions, and we just turned them into those holidays where we drink.
Well,
And
Cinco
those-
de Mayo, like Odie said, is not even a thing in Mexico.
There's a lot of holidays that we don't really
Yeah.
appreciate or like talk about like what their origins were.
No, not at all.
We just
Yeah.
appreciate that we get a day off of work.
I do like that. One of my favorites is President's Day because it's different from like state to state.
Yeah.
And there's some like, oh, it's Abraham Lincoln. People are like, oh, well, it's all presidents. Some like, no, it's George Washington. Or no, it's George Washington and Abraham Lincoln. It's this day. Oh no, actually, it's the second week of this. Like,
And the federal government literally was like, we prefer all of these.
It's literally we have a holiday hangover situation where it's like you go from having all of this time off and then you got to go back to your life for like a month and everybody's had it.
yeah, it's literally like we need a 3-day weekend is the point of that holiday.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I expect the snake stomping festival in your setting at some point, Red. I demand it.
Snake stomping. Well, I mean, like, see, the thing is, I'm very iffy about talking about the setting at all because it's very Eastern Europe inspired.
Oh, that is didn't even think about
Yeah,
that.
I'm gonna wait till all that blows over to like talk about
That's
my
a
setting.
good idea.
So-
Good idea.
Yeah, my
Yikes.
setting is very much inspired off of like
Mm,
Russia. So and
yeah.
I started building this well before any of this shit happened. So
The gentle reminder that everything has gone to hell. Like literally. less than a
gentle
month.
reminder. Yeah, no, but
Yeah.
Problem with like, I mean, all of these different kind of TTRPGs that we play and like all of these, books and media and things that you come up with, it's all part of the great conversation of literature where over time there's only so many new ideas and new themes and a lot of things can be, it's all like the tragic hero and the conquering hero, the love story, all these like specific themes that we have over and over told in different ways, of course, and like expressed in different ways. But it's just the luck of the draw that you're going to come up with something and somebody else is going to come up with the same exact thing or it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Because it comes from some reference that you have in your head that's built up over the years.
Yeah.
I could make it more
Or,
like Germany, I guess. I think that'd be more
Like,
appropriate.
oh, what's a funny voice I can do for an NPC? It's like, oh, I have like a kind of Russian accent. Like, nope, can't do that character right now.
Yeah, we talk and like we had this funny couple of characters that have like these Slavic Russian accents
Yeah.
and we talk to each other at home like that all the time. And I'm like, can't play that anymore.
Now you feel weird about it. You
Here's
feel
the best
guilty.
accent I can do.
It just makes you feel guilty, you know. It's just, but yeah. Let's see. Mischief and Serpent.
Beethoven does make sense. I don't know what I said that makes sense, but I do.
No, you're what you were saying about the whole like
Great
thing.
conversational literature, yeah.
Yeah, it's just like there's a chance that you're gonna skip upon something that you're not gonna like. Like,
I still remember the story I saw online where someone said, like, when I was in high school, my best friend was like, "Oh, let's get tattoos of our favorite bands," and I was like, "No, I'm not going to do that." But his friend got the tattoo anyway, and he got his favorite metal band at the time in the '80s, which was ISIS.
Oh.
oh,
And he's like, "Yep, a couple decades after that, now you got a tattoo on your arm walking around that says ISIS, and you really got to watch your ass."
Yeah.
And it's like,
Now you're on lists.
yep. Oh God.
or like, what about those poor bastards that named their daughter like Khaleesi or Daenerys before the final season had come out?
Honestly, I feel like that's kind of a mixed bag sort of thing. Like, you can like something, and that was like a non-real event. That's a bunch of people being really upset about. Really, people are upset more about the fact that the last season of Game of Thrones bombed more than they are about like the fact that they watched the like 35th instance of mass murder on that show at this point, and not even like the worst, really. Like actually, kind of low tier for a Game of Thrones.
Well, it's that sense of was it caring fatigue, or it comes to a certain point where it's like we get compassion fatigue.
Yeah.
You get so radicalized about everything. There's so much horrible shit out there, and it's like one thing after another and another and another, and you don't have the time, the mental energy to fully commit to caring about one thing before something else comes up that you have to care about.
Yeah, so it's like there's times where people are like, "Oh, how are you not more upset about this?" It's like, because I gotta live my life and I can't.
Because I work in food service in my daily life.
We pick like one or two things to be concerned about at a time, and then we move on from them. It's human. It's not. We're not monsters. It's the most human thing.
Emotionally can't handle caring about everything all the time.
I can't emotionally handle making eye contact with my dog.
That's yeah.
I mean,
it's a cute dog.
It is a cute dog. Very intimidating. Well, honestly,
lighten it up a little bit.
well, I mean that's a good note to end on. We are at 2:38 rather in the time here. I want to say I appreciate you two coming on the show. If you guys would like to do outros and reintroduce yourselves for everybody here, I'd really appreciate that.
Sure.
Do you want to go first?
You can go ahead.
Okay. Well, I am Alec Azam, a pro DM and purveyor of all things homebrew. I have about 6 billion projects in the work right now. The biggest, most urgent one is actually on Saturday. The first episode of my podcast, Appendix of Arcana, comes out. But beyond that, I have a bunch of streams and games and like all sorts of shit. So look me up on Twitter. Patreon, Ko-fi, all those things. It's Alec Azam, and see the 10 billion things I'm doing this year.
Yes. Lots of things.
And you're gonna be doing something late March, early April that I haven't talked about yet. So, but
That
yeah.
was flattering.
Also,
Okay.
Also, Saturday's my birthday.
Saturday is his actual birthday.
Yes, happy birthday.
We were doing a stream talking about his birthday. I ruined it for the internet.
I will give you a big fat shout out on AS, so don't you worry about that.
Yeah.
Because
Okay,
you did contribute, and you contributed a good amount to AS, so I appreciate you.
Hi everybody. I'm Ina Coffin. I am a TTRPG artist. So I do a lot of like custom characters. I've worked with a lot of different homebrewers on Twitter to do art for their supplements. I do a lot of art for Alex supplements when they come out. So different projects that he does. He takes full advantage of having Art Wife
Yes.
do the labor for him, which is always nice. Other than that, I play in like 4 D&D games a week. Done a couple of streams. This is like my 3rd one, so I apologize if I don't understand anything about Twitch yet.
No, you're fine.
But
You're
yeah,
great.
if you want to check out my art, it is in the chat over here, Ina_Coffin. I do commissions, both commercial and non-commercial. If you're interested in having your character drawn.
Absolutely, folks, and I linked her Twitter in the chat. So if you're not already following her, why aren't you? I'm just saying. So following both of you
Sometimes
now.
I'm
Thank you,
kind of
Odie.
cool.
They're always fun and cool.
I know.
You're both always fun and cool. How's that?
That's true.
I can agree with that statement.
Why we had to marry each other because nobody else could handle it.
That's right.
Uh,
Fucking nightmare.
I should say that to Hal. See how she feels about that.
I proposed to her the night I met her. So.
He did at Disney while the fireworks were going off.
Damn, that's romantic.
I specifically said that you asked wrong.
Yes. We don't have time. That's like a 20-minute story.
We'll talk about it in the Saturday stream.
Okay.
That's awesome. That's super nice.
Yeah.
Well, Omni, I don't know if you want to do your outro, man, because if you want to stick around and do some of the audience prompts.
Yeah, I'll do it at the end. But just a little thing, since he is here and it is relevant. Alec is actually going to be one of the players in my coming AS Wilds of Glaswall stream coming up soon. So keep an eye out to see him on my channel very soon at 10:30 a.m. EST Wednesdays. At some point, probably the first week of this coming month is the first planned attempted session. So keep an eye out for that.
Nice.
Oh yeah,
And
I'm sorry. go on.
guarantee my character will be a nightmare.
He does
Perfect.
not get to play very often. I DM'd a whole of one time for his birthday a few years ago, and he was such a nightmare. I will never do it again.
It's a good thing the game has literally only 4 stats, so it should be easy.
See, people know what I'm like as a player, so I'm a son of a bitch.
Kind.
Are you doing your announcement now before I have to go to bed for work?
Oh yeah, I should do my announcement. That thing I completely forgot about that you reminded me of. Thank you.
Gotta do that responsible adult shit.
Oh, thank you. I'm not a responsible adult. I'm 21.
What's that?
Red's great on games. Yeah, when I'm rules lawyering people. Yeah. Boo adulthood. I agree. So important announcement. Brrr, drum roll. I was a drummer. Discord's going to be open to the public very soon. Everybody's going to be welcome to come in, drop ideas. I want to do something very big. I don't have a date for it yet, probably sometime in April. I'd like to have a big Discord get-together sort of thing, so everybody can introduce themselves to one another. It's going to be like a miniature convention, not like Dice. Dice is much cooler than what I'm doing, but I want to have everybody to get to know each other. I really like the audience interaction that already happens during the streams, so I'd like to have everybody that's already in here interacting with my stuff in the Discord. So I will be posting links to that very soon, probably within the next few days or so. The Discord will be live, so I'm very excited to have you all. But
Hey, congratulations.
thank
Be
you.
there, be wrong, boy.
Be there, be wrong, boy. Thank you, Omni. Omni was a
Oh, I
geometrist.
just got that.
Thank you.
Whatever. That's guys.
Well, I'll catch you two on the flip. You two have a lovely evening, and thank you. I'm going. Hopefully, very soon, I'm gonna have you on again. So,
Heck yeah.
Thank you for having me.
absolutely, you're a delight. Both of you are a delight. I love working with you guys.
Take care, folks.
Bye.
Oh, okay. That's not what I expected. Hold on a second. I need to fix the cams, folks, so bear with me here. Actually, this might be fine. Hold on. I know this looks like hell, but get over it. Oh, I'm a genius. Look at this. Okay, well, I just need to delete this one. Infinired, yeah. That which, yeah, Infinired. Hopefully, Google Docs, please. This is supposed to be the Google Docs caption. Good night, Ian. It was nice having you on. I really appreciate you. You working with you and Alec is always a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to working with both of you more, since yeah. Well, you know. Bye, you crazy kids. Good night, Nathan. I'm looking forward to having you on next week, brother. Okay. Did we just do a chip off the block segment now, or like what do we? Oh, you know what? I don't feel like. I'm gonna be completely honest. I'm not gonna pull up the Google Doc. I'm just gonna make our photos bigger. Yeah. How's this gonna look? Omni is muted. That's alright. Nobody wanted to listen to him anyway.
Yeah, no.
Let's see.
I'm only the co-host.
Can't hear Omni. Yeah, whatever. You're a hack and a fraud. Let's see.
Yeah, Jesus.
Yeah. Make you a little bit bigger. Where's Bon? I haven't seen Bon all night.
Bon's been doing a lot of Bon's been doing a lot of work lately and has to be up early. So it's one of those like, yeah.
Slacker. Not hanging out on the Writer's Block streams.
Oh no, I can't say that. Bustin' butts is what she's been doing, like utterly bustin' butts. I couldn't even begin to try to match that. I'm impressed endlessly by her.
Well, folks, I guess we're just going to do a talk show for a little bit.
Yeah.
So, the prompts that we got earlier, I need to go scroll up and find those. We'll talk about those. I don't feel like writing anything, folks. I'm going to be quite honest. I just got done with a 10,000 word commission, so the last thing I want to be doing right now is writing. Need to take a little bit of a break.
And here I am just drawing. I'm doodling.
Oh, yeah. Lord. Yeah, Lord indeed. It was a very big commission. So I have Solace and Serenity. I remember one of them. Oh. Somebody submitted a really good one. Nara submitted a good one. Was it, Speakeasy?
Okay, that's pretty cool.
So we got
I like-
Solace, Serenity, and Speakeasy. I don't know why you guys all came up with S words. That might be just entirely coincidental, but I like S words.
It's good stuff.
I miss my
Hmm.
future baby mama Bon Bon.
This is,
Okay, JJ, I'm glad you're still here, hon.
she is amazing, and I'm sure we'll get a chance to see more in the future once things calm down a little bit.
But, see. Yeah, I'm just trying to see if I got anything open that I can afford to close. You camera, you stop that. You bastard. Okay. Alright, folks. Well, I just forgot all of the prompts. Maybe I should be writing this. Let's start with Speakeasy, because that was the first one we saw. That was nice.
Yes.
Love your shirt. Thank you. Hal got this for me. It's a little frog playing a banjo. Some mushrooms. I love this shirt. It's very cute. She had a frog-themed birthday for me and got me a bunch of frog-related things. Including an art tablet, my favorite frog-related thing.
Aw,
Nice glasses, Omni. Oh, yo. Thanks.
yes. I
What's up,
love this
Jihan?
flag.
So cute. Omni's the cutest.
Why, thank you.
He's omnilicious. Let's start with Speakeasy.
Okay.
I fell
Yeah.
asleep there for a bit, drifting back to sleep again. Okay, I'll try. We'll try to do like a little bit of ASMR for you, so you can get some sleep. Boop boop beep beep. Ha. Did you like that? Did that do anything for
That's
you?
what everyone's asking for that one right there.
Everybody wants it read to. I don't know. Would you guys want me to read bedtime stories to you? I'd happily
That's a
do that.
dangerous territory to step into. It's not a bad one. It's dangerous.
Well, it's,
Then you're known as that guy who puts people to sleep with their voice, and it's like it's both a compliment and also like a little bit of like a, oh, I put people to sleep with my voice.
well, I mean that's a good thing for me though, right? You know, if I'm reading you a story and you relax, it's kind of the idea of listening to a story in the first place.
That's fair.
Let's talk speakeasy, because speakeasies actually fit pretty well into this setting. But the thing was with speakeasies is where it's going to be difficult is that the existence of them in their own right, I can't talk. The existence of them was a precedent set by the Temperance Act. So alcohol was illegal. And that was at a time where America was having a resurgence in conservatism. That's a big word.
Yeah, I think that's right. Sounds right to me.
From now on, whenever I enter the chat, I'm going to recite that. Okay. What are you going to recite? The poo poo pee pee
The
haha thing?
PPP, yeah, most likely.
That's my sense of humor. So let's think speakeasies here.
All right, so I mean, like, there's different ways of approaching that, right? Like,
Well, absolutely.
speakeasies, anywhere that you basically are selling something that you shouldn't be, and you could take that a lot of different ways, I'd imagine. So, like, sure, there's the alcohol, but again, no one here seems to be particularly upset with like the use of alcohol in the
No.
region. But that doesn't mean that there's not still like illicit drugs or anything like that that might not be welcomed. Like, my thought immediately goes to sort of the aftermath of the Opium Wars, where, or like during the beginning parts of the Opium Wars, Britain moved into China, and they were like, well, we can't possibly like casually seize this nation without a lot of problems. So what if we just introduce them to opium and utterly get them screwed? And before they knew it, yeah, no, it worked pretty well. So opium dens sprung up everywhere like speakeasies, because the first response from the Chinese emperor was to be like, that's not gonna fly, I ban opium. And
Should I pull up that
immediately-
meme?
which one?
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Are we talking about the dodgeball throwing?
No,
head meme?
the spot of the old hardcore drugs, eh, Uncle Chang?
Yeah.
I'm gonna pull that up and play it for the audience. That was,
Oh, it's perfect. Do it. Yes.
it's an excellent meme.
I
Let me
love it.
we're gonna stop listening to our Ghibli music and listen to something much more traumatic. Whoops.
That's very much has the same energy as like a spot of the old ultra violence. I'm pretty sure that's the reference there.
Spot of the old hardcore drugs, eh, Uncle Chang? Let me see if I can. Okay, I'll share it. I love memes. Good. You're gonna like this one, I promise. I'm gonna
Memes are
shrink
good.
Omni down
Memes
to
are-
really tiny and put him in the corner. I'm gonna go in the corner too.
Yeah.
Omni and I are gonna go in the kissing corner.
We're not the important parts of the show. It's the memes.
It's
always
the memes. Yeah, it's always the memes. It's always about the memes. Okay, let me see if I can pull this up. I like doing impromptu shit on stream. I don't know why.
It's fun. It really is, and it's very freeing. So like, I feel that. I get that.
Okay.
Heartedly.
Yeah. Okay. So let me shrink this down so you guys can have it in a watchable format. It's a very good meme. You have never seen it before. It's very funny. It's funny because it's real and it's sad.
Oof.
That's in the okay. That should be fun. Folks at home, if you haven't resubscribed, please, I encourage you to. I appreciate it. Renewing your gift subs is one of the biggest things you can do to make me happy. And when Red's happy, the show is better.
It also might help mental health. So let's do that for his sake.
True. Okay. Alright. I'm gonna play this for everybody. This is gonna be really loud, so if I have it turned down. Actually, I got it turned down very low. Let me turn it up a little bit.
God.
So we were talking about the opium wars in China. This is essentially what it looked like.
Jeez. Oh God.
I
Oh,
know.
Britain.
Oh, Britain.
You couldn't just like let it be, could it? You couldn't have had equal trade partners. You had to be like, let's just casually dismantle the entire world.
What was the what was it? Queen of England. Was it Victoria at the time?
I think so. I know it was the same era as the East India Company.
Well, okay, so what happened with that was she essentially just said, I genuinely don't. She acted like the opium trade wasn't happening.
Well,
She was like, nobody in Britain's selling you opiates. And there went that.
Yeah,
Just like, okay.
and technically the whole idea of like the East India Company was they weren't Britain. They were technically like they operated as near sovereign on their own. They were a bigger empire than the British Empire was. They had more. I didn't realize this. They actually had a much bigger GDP in their era than Britain did.
Oh yeah, absolutely, because that was before the time that China got absolutely destroyed by opiates, killed like 12 million.
Right. The problem with it though was that it was only on the face of it. The second that the Queen came calling was like, yeah, so you're done, then it ceased to exist.
Well, yeah,
so,
because the Queen's just like, okay, we're gonna have to get the colonial army involved, and we don't want to do that.
Yeah, you guys have effectively done. You've been too good at destroying everything else on the planet. Please
Well,
stop.
yeah, they were making too much money for them to just be like, okay, stop. They were making
Right.
Britain way too much money for them to be like, okay, yeah, we need to stop doing the opiates in Asia. No, of course not. Why would they do that? They're making way too much money. I'm not saying that's a good thing, folks. I'm just saying that's the thought process. That's mercantilism.
I don't think that it's a very hot take for us to say
No,
that maybe
absolutely
colonial
not.
Britain might have messed a couple things up.
Messed a couple things up. They literally fucked up the entire world for the next 100, 200 years.
Exactly.
We're still feeling the repercussions
This is
of it.
depositing the coldest take possible.
Oh, yeah, no. Like,
this is a take so lukewarm that it just dissolves instantly on contact with water. There's nothing there.
Sorry if I didn't listen, but what is the Chip Off the Block program? It's our Wednesday shows. Like last night, I just switched it over to this. It's not technically Chip Off the Block right now, but Chip Off the Block is our Wednesday programs where we sort of play whatever. I made this, and we haven't used it in a month, so
yeah,
because we never do what we said we were going to do on Chip Off the Block, so we've just been playing video games, which is fine. People like that.
a little break sometimes never hurts, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like,
But yeah, so since we're done talking about opiates, we can come back to
right.
JJ says nighty
Yeah,
night, my sweet jelly beans. I'm going to bed now. Thanks for the stream, my loves. Oh, thank
good
you,
night,
JJ. Thank you for the gift
Always.
subs. Thank you for being an absolute delight. You're truly a darling. Thank you. Always enjoy having you on the show.
Keep an eye out for JJ on my channel as well. JJ is awesome.
JJ is good people. Very
Yeah.
good people.
So yeah, like I think we could do speakeasy for like anything. I like the idea that maybe there were
Opiates. Let's have opiates in our setting.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, like, no, I'm not even joking about that.
Well, opiates are one of the earliest forms of like, drugs.
Right. Like, I like the idea. We could make it maybe a little more benign, so that it's not quite so entire civilization destroying as the ones we encountered in our world. But like,
Make it
almost
like
kind of-
alcohol,
Yeah, or like the hookah bars that dominated large portions of the Middle East, where it's like it's just communal smoking. Is it good for you? No. Is it going to utterly destroy your entire civilization overnight?
No.
Also, no. Thankfully.
It's just people want to do things that are bad for them. I mean, just let them do it.
I mean, yeah, right.
If I wanted to gargle concrete mix, you should let me just do it.
I mean, free country, right?
Like, oh, have you guys ever heard of a cement mixer?
God,
We were talking about cursed cocktails last night.
Oh God, that does sound like a cursed cocktail.
It's lemon juice and Bailey's, I think.
Oh God.
Now, if you guys know anything about science, which you might,
Tell this is an abomination.
mixing those two together is causes the Baileys to curdle.
Yeah. It's sinful, is what it sounds like. It sounds abominable. How dare?
So, cement mixer is Irish cream liqueur, Bailey's, and lime juice. It curdles in the mouth, and you're supposed to gargle it.
Oh God! Wow. It's moments like that I realize people who make these like drinks. Seriously, that joke of Dr. Venture doesn't know how to make a drink.
Well,
is
yeah,
like
Doc
all
Tales.
the more poignant. Yeah, the Docktails. Every one of those is more poignant every day. When I realize there's a lot of folks that are straight up making real Docktails, and like they're like, yeah, no, it's great, it's delicious. I can't wait to have another. Like to make this. We should make one at a party. And you're like, who hurt you? Why do you hurt
Danny is raiding with a party of 7. Hello, welcome in.
Holy
Thank you for the raid,
cannoli.
Danny. Much love to you,
Thank you
man. I
so
appreciate you. Let's see here.
Um,
There's a cute good night. Good night, JJ. Have a good night. Hope you have a.
Yes.
If you're working tomorrow, hope you have a great day. And if you're not working tomorrow, I hope you have a nice lazy day.
yeah.
Odie, why are you quoting me like that? Odie literally quoted me. He said, "I'm not a scientist. I'm stupid." Why do people remember what I say more than I remember what I say? How's it going? Good. Alec and Ina hopped off, so we're just sort of like picking up the prompts that were left over, and we're sort of talking about it. One of the prompts was speakeasy, so we're just sort of talking about that. No Google Doc. We're just talking, shooting the shit. Welcome in,
And I'm
Raiders.
utterly failing here to try to capture a skin tone, and I don't know what I'm going to do, how I'm going to do it. So I'm just not going to. I'm probably just going to remove all the color from this. Fuck it.
There you go. That's the way to do it. Just have it be black and white. Say fuck it. But yeah, we're at about 3 hours, so we're probably gonna go for another 10, 15 minutes, and then we'll send your raiders to a place where they have some content to enjoy. But in the meantime, we are literally just talking. So speakeasy. So like, see, that's a difficult thing in a fantasy setting. I think is like coming up with a substance that's like illegal, without it having it be very either stupid or cheesy or a little too controversial. Red Eye is a good example of a drug that's like, like that works. That's Cowboy Bebop. First episode, just like, oh, it's injected through the eye. Nothing's like that. It's a drug. Everybody understands what it does. It's blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, or like slow-mo from Judge Dredd, or Dredd, sorry, where it's like, okay, there's drugs like this, but like nothing this insanely extreme. This is just an excuse to get a slow-mo feature.
Odie just said that's my favorite line you've ever said. I now use it whenever I have the chance. I had a lot of opportunities with my best friend since he's an engineer.
That's phenomenal.
Can we put that on a t-shirt? I'm not a scientist, I'm stupid. I mean, honestly, that'd be a decent t-shirt.
You should get that on a mug. That should be like the first writer's block mug. I'm not a scientist, I'm just stupid.
No, but the trick is we get like styrofoam cups and write it on it, and we call it a mug.
Oh, I love it.
Oh, yeah.
Do it in Sharpie. Do it in Sharpie on the mug. Sell them in like packs of 5.
I'll sign them. I'll hand sign them just for folks.
No, just have the box outside just be like a card box from U-Haul with like on Sharpie novelty mug.
See, we were talking about see, I would love it. I want 10.
See, it works.
I guess I should open up a Redbubble. You're right. Redbubble. Red opens a Redbubble. That sounds like a Sunny in Philadelphia skit.
That's hilarious. I love that.
So, what's the name of that city we came up with? With Matt and Elise? Was it literally called?
I remember that we called it the Pillar. It was like
no, it wasn't the Pillar. It was like something. It was like the opposite of Night City.
Oh God! Okay, I know exactly what you're talking about. God help me, I can't remember off the top of my head.
When the hell did I have Matt and Elise on? That was like a couple of weeks ago, right?
Yeah, Dawn City. It's New Dawn City. But the joke was it's New Dong City.
Oh yeah. Who the fuck added that? That wasn't me.
No, I didn't.
Okay, that was probably me. Sorry.
Oh, but New Dawn City
is
the name of.
I'd see that's where the speakeasy would be, because I feel like this new city, there's a lot of politicians and people that think they know what's best for everybody, which are politicians, and they're just sort of like, we should make these substances illegal so we can be more productive. We can have like a society that's like, highly functioning and be a pillar of society. And in a way, that's worked. But
and in another way, it's definitely not.
It's crippled. It's the idea is it's probably gotten rid of businesses. Like,
you know what? It's like Dare. Is anyone, if anyone's familiar with the early, like, if you were born in like late 80s, early 90s, you're familiar with Dare. It's this thing they did in high school where they basically bring a bunch of kids together, and it's like, don't do drugs, kids. And it, like, the whole idea of it was police officers visiting students and encouraging them to not do drugs.
Oh, I know. I was alive for the Dare era.
Yeah.
I have a lot of Dare paraphernalia.
Yeah, everyone did because they gave it away hand over fist, and that was the only thing anyone remembers about Dare because it utterly failed because that generation immediately went and raced as quickly as it could towards every drug they could find.
Because this
Um,
generation's because I was about to say this generation
'Cause we're
sucks.
depressed. We're depressed.
Well,
Okay,
yeah,
like
I mean, we need something to cope, right? So,
yeah,
and substances are the best thing to do that with. It's just like you need to stop smoking, and it's just like
it's like maybe give us a society that doesn't make me want to drink myself in oblivion. So not to get too real with y'all, but yeah, like
new
so
viewers, if you like what you consider following, maybe if you have a little extra money, I'd appreciate a sub. Much love to
Oh,
each and every
God.
one of you.
But no, really, like I
Follow
like
if
the
you
idea.
hate Dare.
Yes, 100%. But maybe that is what happened. Like, it's not that it's a formal thing. It's that like I almost like the idea that in this city, because this is the same city where we have like our dueling inventors kind of like interacting.
Oh sure.
I like the idea of like this city's like our corporate slash like inventor houses, the new like rebuilding forces in the society are like, let's try to build a perfect society, a utopian vision. And one of the things they all agree on, even like our terrible one, is like, drugs are whack. Don't do them, kids. They don't make you productive. And immediately society's like, but drugs though. So like it's not even that they're illegal speakeasies, it's just they're a place where they do it outside of the public square because they'll be judged in the public square. It's not that there's any law. It's just that it's like it's Dare times 1,000.
I have an
outside.
idea though on that regard.
Oh,
What if you're not allowed to have, in the same way that cigarette companies aren't allowed to advertise properly anymore? What if you're not allowed to have like bars on main streets? You literally have to have them in the undersides of places. Like you literally have to have them in basements and like beneath buildings. And it's just like you have to keep this as subtle as possible. You can't have this kind of advertising. You can't do this. You have to do word of mouth advertising. You can't encourage people to drink. But everybody knows where all the speakeasies are, right? Because it's just like that's like a coming of age thing for like men and women and anything in between. It's just sort of like why don't we just
right.
everybody knows about that. It's just like, oh yeah, that there's a barley, barley and wheat. That one's off 9th Street. Like everybody knows where they are, but it's just like you're not allowed to advertise. You're not allowed to do radio advertisements. You're not allowed to have flyers or pamphlets.
Right.
You're not allowed to have signs. You're not allowed to commission artwork.
It's the adult magazine section of a bookstore. No one talks about it, but everyone knows exactly where it is.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, you can literally orient yourself in the store from it.
Yeah, Omni was telling me about one time when he was a kid. He used to go into the local Borders and stuff like that, and put all the Bibles in the fiction section.
No, but man, that would be awesome. Let's see, that'd be great for like a wonderful little snippet in a book or something. But I'm not rich enough or important enough.
That's like Reddit circa 2009.
Yeah, that's the edgy Facebook post.
I'd be 4chan now, honestly.
Yeah, that's pretty fair.
That's hilarious. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, like so, but I do like that idea. So it's like it is there. They don't advertise it, but it doesn't need to be advertised because it's all word of mouth. Like you don't need to talk about it. Like it's not like they have many cigarette commercials nowadays. Like people still smoke anyway.
There's no cigarette commercials. Like
right, exactly.
They're not allowed to do it.
And yet I still sell cigarettes enough where I get irritated that people try to get them when I'm doing self checkout. So like probably the same thing here.
I mean, yeah, it's just like let people do what they want to do. It's just like the harder you make something to get, the more somebody will want it.
Also, for the love of God, don't try to order cigarettes at self checkout. I personally kill you.
Yeah, just go through the fucking regular checkout, you bastards.
Please, love of God, they literally can't even get it for you. Just go elsewhere.
Just go to the gas station. You'll get them quicker anyway.
Just go smoke in shame behind the building like everyone else. No, I'm being mean. I'm being needlessly mean. Anyway, the point is, I like that. So I like the idea that they're not real speakeasies, but they're still like, they're just bars no one talks about, but everyone goes to. So like, it's an understood social thing where like the city doesn't make it illegal to do this stuff. They openly encourage people not to do this, but they do it anyway. And the understanding is just keep it in the speakeasy and we're fine. If it gets out of the speakeasy, we're going to start having problems. when we see brown bags appearing in people's hands out in the parking lot.
Oh, what a lovely topic of
Yeah.
I almost like convict of conversation. I cannot talk today, man. I don't know what it is. I woke up today. I'm just like, hey, I'm gonna be a fucking idiot all day. I guess.
I
Like,
did that 3 times today. I tried more than once on this stream alone to like say a thing 3 to 4
Just
times,
can't.
and I just couldn't do it.
Just
Yeah,
can't.
it's one of those days.
Sorry,
It's
folks.
a-
Sometimes we have off days. If you don't like that, well, shut the hell up about it.
If
So
you don't like that, then smash that like button and hit that bell.
fuck that like button.
I like the idea that literally the response to everything is if you whatever like
It's funny, right?
like, if you thought that was the worst segment we've ever had, hit that like button and subscribe.
Because it's funny. It's just sort of just like, if you thought that was funny, if you thought that was hacky and shit, make sure to follow for more of that. We should just do a podcast, because I've been talking about doing a podcast for a long time, because
I would love
it'd be a lot easier than us throwing up cameras all the goddamn time.
Yeah, that'd be
This
great.
stream is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legend. No, it's not. I will never be sponsored by Raid Shadow Legend because I don't play the game. Unless they literally give me.
I gotta ask.
What's
If we
up?
get sponsored by GG Gamer Subs, like, what's our flavor called? That's a question for
GG
sure.
Gamer Subs? What is that?
Yeah, like the Gamer Subs thing. Like, it's like the gamer powder stuff. Like,
Oh,
you know,
our flavor?
yeah, exactly. Like Russian Badger has like Gamer Fart 9000 or something. Like Avocado Gamer Fart, whatever 9000.
Wait,
like,
okay, so we can come up with any name and they'll go with it.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty much, as long as it's not like straight up offensive. But it can be whatever tongue in cheek thing you want.
I'd
I'd
sponsor you,
sponsor
but
you
I
for
don't
much
have
cash.
cash. You
Yeah,
are
dude.
totally fine, brother.
That is the creators thing right now. Honestly, it's like everyone looking at everyone on like Twitter and being like, "Oh, there's so much awesome talent here. If only I had money."
That's the truth about things, you know. It's just like Elise Howell, my significant other, who is also an artist. So Alec and I have a lot more in common than you might think. I was talking to her. She's doing commercial commissions for a lot of money. I'm not going to disclose how much money because that's not professional of me. But she's making
Right.
so much money, and I just like, yeah, I kind of feel like I would be in this boat if I tried to hire commercial art of a quality that I would be satisfied with for that much money.
Yeah.
These aren't her prices, but I'm just saying, like, if I wanted to get something done for a book that I wanted to work on, if I wanted to get like a couple of illustrations done, it'd be $1,000 because it's commercial,
God.
right?
Yeah.
Unless they want royalties, and royalties that don't pay the bills. You know, you need something that you can expect to make money off of. So unless you have like a Kickstarter going for this shit, and you've shown that you're successful, and you've shown that you can pay your artist proper, nobody's gonna want to do royalties with you, like ever.
And
Royalties
honestly,
are
just pay. Just pay. They need to get groceries. Like, that's the trick.
yeah, and a lot of people do this for a living, right? Hal does it
Yeah.
for a living, so fucking pay the woman, damn it. Like,
Yeah, I'm just gonna put this out there as an artist. It's not that we don't appreciate that. Honestly, 9 times out of 10, we totally get where you're coming from. It's a matter of simply most of us.
you don't have the money, and we get it, but it's just like, don't
Right,
act
yeah.
like you do, and then like get all bent out of shape when we're just like, okay, where's the money that you promised?
Right.
That's
or
what's
just
fucked
like
about
we just
that.
say we're not going to do it. This is the real trick, is because a lot of us would love to just do this for free. I'm straight up. If I just got paid a moderate stipend to just not be a pain in the ass and ride in the streets, I would stay home and do art.
Yeah,
I
I
would
would
gladly
literally
do
just do that for
pro bono.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the fact that my life requires income, sadly, I'm sorry guys, but pay the fuck up.
Yeah, I mean, this is quite literally my livelihood right now. So like,
I hear you, man. I hear you.
so let's see here. So
So we did that.
I need to check a few things. I'm getting a vacation set up,
Nice.
and it looks like that vacation is going to be the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, and the 6th of June. So that'll be Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday.
Nice.
That's in June, though, so that's a few months away now. We got artists for our products, and it is not cheap. Absolutely, yeah. Well, because artists, they work too. It's a job. I hate to admit that to people, right? Because it's like, oh, art's a job.
Yeah,
Just
no,
because
sorry.
it's not a blue collar or STEMs doesn't mean it's not a livelihood. Look at
Doesn't mean
this
it's not-
art.
Yeah, it's difficult. Yeah.
You know who made this hat? A tailor. Tailors are artists. This Mario hat, I don't know, probably made in a factory, but still, it was designed by an artist.
Nintendo, yeah.
But my frog shirt, designed by an artist. You know, it's a profession. Everything around you has art on it. You see this chip off the block thing? Canva made it, but technically I did, so art.
Jesus. Oh god.
Yeah,
Oh, Canva. I have such a mixed thing with Canva.
I like Canva.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's just makes it very difficult to do some art.
And if you love their
um,
art, pay them. Absolutely, yeah, pay them what they're worth. That's why so many people just go into doing furry art, because furry artists are okay. Now I know I always bring up furries in the show.
You are actually 100% right.
Yeah,
Like,
because furries always pay their artist. I've
Straight
never
up.
heard of a furry that doesn't pay their artist and doesn't tip them egregiously. So
Yeah,
like,
I've actually had a couple of friends who they went to the Art Institute down in Fort Lauderdale, and for the record, it was not a good investment, but they did learn fantastic skill sets. And they're like, yeah, no, most of what's paying off their art debt was in fact commissions from Fur Affinity.
Yeah.
But they pay phenomenally well, and the
Well,
community
yeah,
feels
it's
pretty
just-
respectful to its artists. So
and if you don't want to say your name, you can literally just be a ghost artist, and you can charge extra for that. Same way that I charge extra for ghostwriting. But you know, I've had a lot of people that I had somebody ask me for ghostwriting, and they were kind of rude about it. They sort of give me this attitude that just like, see, this is why I wouldn't hire a ghost artist, because I don't want them writing in my world, because it's just, I'm like, then why did you hire me? So
yeah, I
like
feel that.
I don't know all the facets of your imagination. If you really didn't feel comfortable hiring a ghostwriter, why did you reach out to me? $20 for 1,000 words. I don't care. I'm not complaining. Let me read
It's
it.
fair.
Jihan says work is overrated. Absolutely. So I work for as a slave, being an accountant, paying to pay them. A ghostwriter. Okay, Odie, a ghostwriter is it's somebody who I'm a ghostwriter. I don't do it as often as I used to because I don't really get the commissions anymore, which is fine because it's a lot of work for very little pay. I just finished a writing commission that was 10,000 words, $10,000 or 10,000 bucks. Oh, that'd be nice. 10,000 words for $100. Pretty good. I work with the guy a lot. Super nice dude. But a ghostwriter, basically they pay you extra money to write something and they take credit for it. So you don't, your name, whatever you wrote is not on it. You can make some ludicrous money doing it, but it's such a tedious and painful job that I can't stand it. Because most ghostwriting is like writing manuals and writing like stuff, what do you call it? Like, what's the word I'm thinking of? Like PowerPoint presentations. Like you're writing presentations for people and shit like that, and writing simple how-to books.
Right. Yeah. Because at that point, it's not like the company that's making it really cares. Like there's no creativity investment there. They're just like, we just need to get out the how to do Reddit for Dummies edition 5. Like they're not really concerned with
How
that.
to have sweet passionate sex, chapter 7.
Well, page 1. Don't read a book on it.
Page 1. No bitches.
Yeah.
That's so tedious. God. Sorry you went through that. I mean, no, I see, the thing is, the guy that I was just talking about 10,000 words for $100, he credits me. He slaps my name on everything. Like he's a super great dude. He makes sure I'm credited for a lot of stuff. He's hired me to make maps and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So isn't the spirit of a writer who has passed on the axe as your muse? No, ghostwriting is not a poltergeist that writes for you. Although that would be a good name for a book. Thanks for explaining. I appreciate it. Yeah. Sure, we're doing a talk show right now, man. I'm just happy to answer questions and stuff like that. We're just shooting the shit, like I said. Ghostwriter would be a good... That sounds like a Stephen King book.
I mean, that was literally like a kid's show. For a good reason. And it worked.
Was it?
Yeah, Ghostwriter? That was totally a thing.
No, Ghostwriter, not writer.
No, Ghostwriter. Writer.
Really? That's
the idea was like, it was the whole premise of the show was that these kids are trying to solve like mysteries, usually like murders or crimes, and there's a ghost that lives nearby, but the only way to communicate was by writing things on paper or on the computer.
So somebody did that before me, is what you're saying. Great. Okay. Well.
Yeah. Sorry, man. Simpsons did it. Nickelodeon did it, but yeah, like.
Well, no,
It's fine. I'm sure even Nickelodeon wants to forget that show. It was actually not that bad. It was fine.
No, I'm so sure. They're just sucking up so they can get a Nickelodeon sponsorship.
You're totally right. I am jonesing for that extra slot of money right there. I'm hoping I can be the next Double Dare. No, I'm not. I'm really not. I'm really not. I can't even make that joke. I'm really not. Oh boy. All right. I think I got this actually. Man, it's weird.
Oh, Odie, fun fact. When I went to a LAN, my buddy paid for my ticket for the first time I went to a LAN. He put my username down as I'm stupid.
I
And
love that.
it's on my monitor. It says, yeah, my name, and then has my name is I'm stupid. So whenever somebody would call me out, like during the LAN, like for like if I won a prize or something, they'd be like, I'm stupid, and I'd be like, yeah, you are.
Jesus.
Oh, it really got old with those guys, and it made me laugh when I was a stupid teenager. Here you go, Odie. This is the cup. So for the very cheap installment of 4 installments of $15.99, you can have the I'm not a scientist, I'm stupid styrofoam cup. Yeah. Drinking fashion. I'll make it an actual mug. I'll make it look nice, I promise.
And now available on Redbubble.
Red's Redbubble.
Yes.
I should make
Not
merchandise
actual
though.
Redbubble, just Red's bubble.
Okay, how many of you here would unironically buy merch? Like, hold on. Okay, let me put up a poll.
Yeah,
Pretty
that's
cool.
fair. That is the eternal question right there. Like, not even as a joke, just straight up like that would be nice.
There we go. Duration.
Okay.
Okay, put up a poll. Merch, yes or no?
So
I wouldn't have
alright.
generic merch that just had my face thing on it. That would probably be something I would do, but I'd have to pay at least for that, of course, because she designed the face after all.
So I'm really not happy with the style of this, but it'll do, I guess. So I went back to the Whisper and the Spectacle, public speaker, and the electric transmitter kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I like the idea that in New Dawn City, at like some of the more important buildings that actually do have access to these radios, they mount like just literally a little like primitive megaphone there, and they sort of have it giving like whatever newscast comes through. And so I'm calling it, for the moment anyway, I'm calling them the sober criers, with the implication that the normal criers that people are used to are the ones that are hanging out in the. So yeah, I'm kind of happy with that. I'm gonna put that in the chat or in the document.
Yeah, excellent. You could just send the image straight to me in that regard. I'll just throw it up on the stream.
Oh yeah, let's see if I can make this shiz work. I'll just put it in the guest chat since it's the easiest one to access. And damn, but yeah. So I think we got like the speakeasy thing pretty much down. Like we've established there's like drinking style bars in the place, and like the government is doing their best to dissuade people, but people are being people and enjoying some sweet drugs, so it's not gonna happen.
So you sent this to me. Oh, you just put it in the Google Doc. Never mind. That'd probably just be easier to open up the fucking Google Doc.
Yeah, let's put it at the bottom underneath the last one.
Folks at home, I'm incredibly professional and know exactly what I'm doing at all times.
Has to do both of us. Clearly.
Future's so bright, I gotta wear glasses. I'm 21 and I feel like a fucking...
reference 90s songs.
Where did you put this at? Is it not in the doc yet?
It's in the doc now. It's in the very bottom. It's underneath the Master Lancer.
Oh yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
With a Mario hat for professionalism, absolutely. See, now you're getting it. I like the perspective here. Hell yeah, hold on. Let me...
Thank you. I'm really happy with the perspective. I utterly hate the color. And I added it in because I realized it made everything too gray. But I'll fix that later. I'll probably just put this whole thing in like monochrome and then just make it a lot lighter and paler.
Why can't I just... I want to just save this, please. Image options. Whatever, I'll just share the fucking doc. Stop being a baby.
You're good. No rush. It'll appear in a future episode, if not this one. I'm not super upset. The answer for the poll, unabashed yes. 3 yeses.
Hell yeah. So like you guys are like mugs and shit, right?
That's probably your best bet. Just like release a couple of items on Redbubble. If someone wants to buy it, they'll buy it. If they don't want to buy it, you don't get charged for it. Doesn't matter.
That's fair.
It's a nice part of Redbubble. It doesn't cost anything.
Yeah,
So-
you just get. I mean, the problem with Redbubble is you just get like pennies on the dollar, but whatever.
Yeah, you don't get much.
But
And
it's
you-
just like,
you
but
can
you don't
actually
get
also-
charged anything.
Right, exactly. And if it explodes, it's great. And if it doesn't, well,
Too fucking dope.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There's worse things. You could have bought like 100 of these things and tried to sell them.
Well, I mean, I don't know. See, the thing is with like selling merch and stuff like that, I wouldn't want just like my name or my face on it because I feel like that's kind of narcissistic.
Yeah.
Personally, if you guys do that, by all means. Like, I just don't like it personally.
Need a polo. I love that.
Need a polo? Yeah, sure. I'll get you a polo. It says I'm not a scientist. I'm stupid on it.
Perfect.
Did you illustrate that? He did illustrate this, and I have the wrong tab open. I'm sorry. There you go. Now you can look at that. I have the chat blocked. Hold on. Let me put that up front.
Almost all the art in my books, my work, it's all mine. Red actually contributed a fair bit of the art to the AS book. And so I'm not going to pretend that he did the soldier, one of the dust knolls, and helped with a lot of the rest of the design. So, but like the runic stuff and the cover and a lot of the editing, that was me. So I tend to do a lot of visual design stuff.
Yeah, I'm more of the writing side of things when it comes to the two of us. But
But honestly, you're doing really good with the art lately. Like,
Oh,
I
thank you.
really dig Project Rodent. It's really, really cute.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm also working on another project that I have said literally nothing about on Twitter. Project Profane.
Yes, I can't wait to see that
Uh,
finally take place.
Yep. I'm gonna make a really simple, straightforward, fun, like probably hex-based D6 dice pool fighty rodent thing where you just kill demons for fun. It's just gonna be one of those you play like every now and then just to have a blast. But I wanted to make it really simple. Like you can pick it up and just play, kind of like life. You know.
Yeah.
But,
Also, for the record, I agree. Lost Haven is an excellent artist. Lost Haven's one of the folks that inspires me a lot on Twitter, and I know like it's mutual for both of us that we like constantly pat each other on the back. It's a circle, like it's a circular hug. I'm gonna be nice about it, not use the other obvious reference. It's a continuing hug between the two of us. He's a phenomenal artist. I'm endlessly impressed by him.
Andy's a great dude. I'm looking forward
Making
to
a
working
game
with him.
about Hank Hill, I believe that would be Propane, and that game exists.
Project
so-
Propane.
Project Propane, where the last part is just PAIN.
See, the problem with these games is the thing is with propane. Fuck you. Project Rodent, I'm doing entirely by myself. I'm doing the art, I'm doing the writing, I'm doing the mechanics. It's gonna be a small game. I'll probably get it out in a couple of months. Project Profane. I'm not going to talk too much about it because it's I don't want to get anybody's hopes up, and I don't want to sort of like set any precedents for myself. It's going to have a lot of art, and I'm not going to be able to do that by myself. And Hal, at least my significant other, has volunteered to be the art director. I'm going to get like 1 or 2 classes for this game done. I don't want to talk too much about it, like I said. I'm going to get 1 or 2 things for this game done as proof of concept, and hopefully, by the middle of the year, I'll kickstart it.
Oh man,
But
I'm so nervous about Kickstarter.
I am too. The thing is with Kickstarter.
Kickstarter for years, but I still haven't.
See, the thing is with Kickstarter, I don't mind doing it ever. Like, the thing is with it is you have to have a good proof of concept. You have to have a reason, like how you're going to distribute something like this, etc.
Mm-hmm.
The Kickstarter goals are probably going to be something along the lines of, this is going to be digital to start. It's going to be PDFs and stuff like that. And then I wanted to move it to physical because there's a part of the game that you really just cannot replicate in, in a digital environment. You can, but it's more good to play it in person. I'm going to make it digital, and there's probably going to be digital exclusive things, and there's going to be physical exclusive things. But yeah, it's a project I'm very much looking forward to. I've been talking about wanting to make my own TTRPG for a while. I know I'm young, but I've played a lot of games. I've played a lot of card games, so that's a little hint.
Oh yes, okay, I know exactly. Yes.
I wish you
No
the best
worries.
of success and luck on your project. Thank you. I can help you with recommendations for kickstarting it and Kickstarter. I'd appreciate that, but I'm a far way off from that, so I'll have to come back to you, Odie. But yeah,
I'll get in contact with you mid-year. I'm hoping that'll be about when I start getting serious about getting Legacy done and out here. So
yeah, it's just the thing is, it's just like, oh yeah, there's a lot of big steps I need to take. See, the thing is with Profane right now, it is you have no idea how much time we spent, my best friend and I, researching stats about it. Oh well, shit.
yeah.
Still working on the mechanics for our card game, work in progress. See, the thing is, Profane is like pre-alpha, and what I mean by pre-alpha is it is ideas. Like right now, it is just ideas, and I'm taking it very, very slowly because this is going to take me at least a year or two. No
Yeah.
good, great game was made in a few months. So
Yeah, man.
I'd like to take my time. There's going to be a lot of play testing for it, and I was talking to Derek about this, DMDM Studios, for those of you that don't know. The thing that he suggested, well, he didn't suggest it, but he was talking about it with Legend of Five Rings, is when it was being tested in the card game state, the people that won the card games, like whatever they did, that determined the lore for the game, the entire game.
Oh, that's cool.
And I want to do something very similar to that when I invite playtesters. When I have the playtesters, I'm going to want people that have played card games. No offense to people that play TTRPGs, but I need people that have played card games. At least an extensive amount of card games. I'm talking like Omni played Magic when it was still Type 2. Was standard when it was still Type 2. Stuff like that. So Omni would be a good example. I myself would be like a good playtester, but I'd be biased. You know, I'd be like, oh, I really like this mechanic that I made. It's just like, I want other people to tell me how it feels.
God, I know that feeling.
Well, because it's just like, oh yeah, this sounds really good, and then you like immediately go to use it. It's like, this is fucking awful. That's why you need to test things, right? So,
Right.
and the best way to have people test things is to have them play it. So, you know, I'll talk a little bit more about Profane. I don't see why this would be spoilery.
All 14 of you folks online, like, you're privy now.
Oh yeah, you guys know way too much. I have to kill you now.
Here's the release papers.
So, Profane is my combination of a TTRPG and a card game. It's been done before. I'm more than aware of that, but I wanted to do my version. Because one thing I've always wanted since I started playing Magic in high school is I wanted a narrative form of play of Magic. And I don't feel like Magic, and I won't sign an NDA. I wanted a narrative form of Magic the Gathering. Because the way that Magic is right now, you can't really play it in a narrative sense. There's no like story, quote unquote, right? So, like, I played up Aether Revolt, started End of Kamigawa Block, Hearthstone, some game on Steam whose name escapes me. I played a lot of card games. So yeah, you have a fair amount of experience. The thing is, I want this game to be, I don't want it to be accessible for everybody. Because like I want to have a target audience. I want to have people that enjoy Magic, but also enjoy D&D. Because obviously that's an audience. Because they're making books, and Theros, the Mythic Odysseys of Theros, very good selling book. Yu-Gi-Oh! For the win? No. But you have played a card game, so yes, I technically allow you to do that. But yeah, this is going to be a hybrid of TTRPGs and card games. So it's going to have a narrative sense, like everything that you're doing has a narrative sense. There's a lot of mechanics I want to work on. Specifically, this is going to be the most difficult thing to do, but I want this game to be able to be played without a GM. It's going to be hard to do that. But with a card game, I think it's doable.
Yeah, 100%. There's plenty of, like, speaking from a wargaming background, which I know isn't the same as card games, but, like, it is in that same sort of ballpark of a lot of the whole premise of it is built on you need multiple players involved in order to do something.
Yeah.
But since the start of the pandemic, there's been a lot of games that have released what are called, like, single-player automated campaigns. And to do that, they're literally like, hey, adversaries, if you want to do like a solo campaign, they have a scenario that's set up for you. you set up the board, and the enemies, all the bad guy units, they operate under strict patterns of movement. So it's like if no enemies are within this distance, this unit will do this, and this unit will do this, and they'll shoot this. If you get within this range, they'll put their guns away, they'll charge at you and do this, or flee if they do this, or claim this objective. And it literally runs like an old computer program. So you can play these games that are designed for like tactical warfare with yourself and actually have a chance of losing. That's kind of cool. Like I love that. Yeah, exactly. A programmed game, but with actual pen and paper.
See,
So like
that's
I
how I
totally
want.
see that working in a card game.
So that's something that I was interested in doing. So I want 3 levels of play. I am gonna be quite honest. I am directly ripping this off from Flesh and Blood, but almost nobody knows about Flesh and Blood. Flesh and Blood TCG is a card game where you have different levels of play, and you have a hero character. If you guys remember, this is really a bit of a reach here, but does anybody remember the Vanguard format from Magic the Gathering?
Say that again? The last part clipped in my head?
The Vanguard format from Magic the Gathering?
It's very familiar. I have not played it though.
So Vanguard, back in the day, it was very much like the preliminary to Commander. You had a card that was like a character that wasn't represented already on a card, and you would have an effect on your board. So you'd have somebody like Urza at the time would be like your hero, or one of the other planeswalkers that worked with Urza, stuff like that. Commander is the child of it, essentially. So
right.
The way I want, there's different levels of play in the way that like there's novice, there's adept, and then there's master, or those are just the work in progress names. I haven't given them actual things yet. Avatar with an ability in addition to the deck. Yes, technically, yeah, that's pretty much how Vanguard worked. Vanguard, like I said, it was like a baby version of Commander. So novice would be like you have a smaller deck. Your class, quote unquote, has less influence over the game because you haven't leveled up yet. But there isn't like a leveling system. There's 3 levels of play. You play on like a low level, you play at a medium level, and then you play at a high level. On each of those, I'm not going to come up with challenge ratings or any of that shit. I'm going to sort of like just recommend like these cards would be more suitable for a novice deck, while these cards would be more suitable for like a master deck. So a master would be dueling things like armies, right? Mm-hmm. So there'd be like creatures on the board, quote unquote. I don't want to do creatures at all. I want this to be a dueling game. I want this to be like one of you plays a wizard, one of you plays a paladin, and you fight. The 2 of you are fighting. But I also want it to be in a sort of game that's just like, I pitched this idea to Derek. I want there to be a narrative sense where this is an improvised game completely. And the GM, I highly recommend having a GM for this because it would really speed up the process. Let's say that you're playing a level 1 rogue or a scoundrel. Like I said, all these names are works in progress. I'm probably not going to name them rogue because rogue's very generic. And I wanted it to stand out a little bit more than rogue. But we'll say rogue for now. So the rogue's goal right now, they are a child. They're probably like 15 or 16 years old. This is like your very beginning of your character. You're just like, okay, I hate the village that I live in. The lord that lives here is a bastard, but supposedly he has the fastest horse in the entire realm. I'm going to steal it. So that's your goal. I'm going to go into this castle. You pick a big goal. This is sort of like a Blades in the Dark thing. You pick a big goal and you achieve it that way. You achieve it through the card game. So what you do is just like I said, these are ideas. This isn't all concrete yet. So how are you going to, so you're going to go in, you're going to try to steal a horse. Okay. How are you going to do that? You're a rogue. Okay. You're going to sneak in and try to steal the horse. Good. Your overarching enemy is going to be the captain of the guard. The captain of the guard may not be directly fighting you, but if you wake him up, that's the challenge. You don't want to wake up the castle. So,
gotcha.
Or since you're trying to steal the horse, you're probably going to be fighting the stable master. The stable master would be the enemy. So you don't want to wake him up. You want to be able to steal the horse and get out. So there'd be mechanics in the game that being like, okay, if you deal more than 5 damage to anything in a single turn, or if you fumble something, or if you discard a card or something like that, you make noise. And if you make noise, you wake the people up, and now the real combat begins. But in the meantime, there's a deck. That's the scenery deck, or the environment deck that interacts with you. So it's just like as you're sneaking around, using your energy to sneak around and like do things, there's a narrative sense to things. And then there's the card game. The card game is like how you deal with things, and the same way that you make rolls in Dungeons and Dragons.
Gotcha. Okay, I like that.
So if you deal more than 5 damage to something in a turn, if you discard a card, maybe, if you do something to make noise involving your deck, I'll come up with more mechanics and stuff like that for that. You wake somebody up. The Stable Master begins, shuffles his deck, draws his cards. His turn starts. You woke him up. There's things you can do to, like, there's environmental factors, and then there's going to be things I add in. It's just sort of like, these are things that can happen in the environment, blah, blah, blah. It's like Magic the Gathering, but the environmental factors heavily affect what's going on. For example, let's say you're going through a dungeon, and you're playing a bowman, or you're playing somebody with a long-range weapon. You're going to have disadvantage because you're trying to shoot somebody from across a field, but you're shooting somebody in a closed corridor. You're going to have some sort of penalty for that. There's going to be penalties to ranged attack, penalty to this sort of things, blah, blah, blah. But the thing is, you have your deck, but then you have your character sheet. I don't want to overcomplicate this. I don't like overcomplicating rules. I want something to be approachable, but I want something to be like number crunchy and satisfying in that regard. Because if it's too loose,
Right.
it's not satisfying. But if it's
you
like
want
just
you want satisfying complexity, not befuddling complexity.
yeah, I don't want Warhammer levels of complexity. I want like
Right.
I want like Call of Cthulhu or Pathfinder 2nd edition levels of complexity. Like sort of like you can put something together and it'll feel good. So
Okay.
in that regard, you have your character sheet. Your character sheet does things like this. These sorts of cards deal 1 more damage. You get something like this. You draw 1 more card at the start of your turns. That kind of stuff. You get abilities with those. And there's probably going to be default stats. Like, for example, strength. Like, strength-based attacks. And there'll probably be subtypes on cards. It's just like club. It's just like, okay, hit somebody with a club. It'll say strength on the card. So you do a strength-based attack with a club. But and then there'll be like if you had a rogue, it's just like okay, strength-based attacks you can use your finesse instead. You know.
Okay, I like that. Nice, simple, easy, straightforward.
But see, the thing is, where I'm coming to a stop, and I'm trying to think really hard about it. I'm not asking for ideas. It's just something that I need to think about. But
Right.
charisma. I don't know if I want those. I don't know if I want roleplay to happen with rolls or with cards and stuff like that. Because there's a mechanic. There's a game where that it's called Grift Worlds, where you have a separate deck for combat and a different deck for negotiations. And I thought that was incredibly interesting, and I've never seen a card game do that before, and I thought that was very cool. I wanted to do something similar to that, but I don't know if I want to. I think I'd rather leave all of the roleplay up to the characters and let them decide whether or not they fuck something up really bad. Maybe I'll give character sheets. I want character sheets to have. I want them to primarily affect your deck, but I want them to have very, very big things to do in social encounters. I want them to be like D&D backgrounds, but they actually matter. So like
Okay,
you're a knight of an order. Let's say you're a knight, but you'd be a squire. Let's say you're a knight at the adept level of play, so level 2 of play. You're a knight, so you have squires. So like let's say level 1 you're a squire. So what do you get? You know knightly order. You know simple combat. Maybe you get a +1 to a certain type of attack. That would be your thing, right? Or
Right.
and at knightly level you get to summon your squires or your retainers, and your retainers keep your armor clean, keep your weapons clean, put your armor on and stuff like that. So you get a +1 bonus to like, you get extra health, you get extra attack damage, you know, that sort of things. Like your background is your class in this game.
Right.
And you
makes
can-
sense.
And you can play pacifists. That's one thing I want to do. I want people to be able to play pacifists. I want people to never be able to lift a weapon through this entire game.
Okay, that's a good idea. I like that because that's the thing that I know a lot of games tend to like default to is like you must use force of arms for this, and that always like that can be good in a lot of games, especially if the game is more of a tactical edge. So that way you don't have to worry about that one player who's like, oh, okay, well I played the pacifist, and everyone keeps throwing themselves into an initiative, so I'm just going to sit here and be sad.
Well, you can
it's
be a
nice to have-
pacifist and not. You can. It's more of a conscientious objector, right? Because the difference between pacifism
Right.
is avoiding combat. Conscientious objector is being involved in combat but not doing anything to make it worse. So, like, a
Right.
conscientious objector would be somebody like a healer, or you could literally just be somebody like a rogue. It's just like I refuse to kill anybody, and I'm just going to sneak around. You know. You got to
Yeah,
forgive me,
that's-
but I am falling asleep. Thank you very much for streaming and talking about interesting topics. I wish you all an excellent week. And you too, Odie. Have a good night, man. I really
It's always
appreciate
a pleasure.
having you on the
buddy.
streams.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you for the bits this evening. Much love to you. Have a good night, man. But you know, this is a lot of stuff I need to think about because this is going to be a very, very big rule book. Because
Yeah, man.
most of it's going to be like different classes and stuff like that. People were talking to me about like classes of magic and stuff like that earlier, and I was just sort of like, I want this to be more of like a medium magic setting. I want martial characters to feel involved in things because that's something I've always disliked. Is martials always feeling like you could just do this but better with magic. You know,
Right.
that's something that, and we've talked about that when we first started AS. That was something we were talking about.
Yeah.
The inconsequential balance of just magic and might. So
Right. Because that's like the big issue, really. In my opinion, I think it's one of the biggest issues with Magic the Gathering's lore is like all planeswalkers are spellcasters, and that's cool and great and fine, except that planeswalkers are also the lens by which we see the world of Magic the Gathering, which I guess again it's called Magic, so it is fine, it fits, but it does mean that arbitrarily now any person who is picking up a sword becomes a second class citizen in the hierarchy of that setting. They'll never be a planeswalker. Literally, they can't be. And to
well,
compare with a
that said,
planeswalker, you have to be like Gideon Jura, who literally his power is he fucking can't die. Like that says something when that's the level you need to be at in order to be considered a martial character in that setting and still be able to hold your own
but he
compared
died.
to like literally anyone else. Yeah, and then he dies. Yeah.
Well, Arlen Cord's a good example of not a planeswalker that isn't a mage. There are quite a few planeswalkers that aren't mages.
Yeah.
Mages in the traditional sense.
Well, right, yeah. There's always some sort of magic in it, though. It isn't like there's no purely martial planeswalker. There's some that like rely mostly on like martial force. Like Elspeth spends a lot of her time swinging that sword around, but still,
Spear
like,
now.
oh, that's fair. Yeah, spear. But you hear where I'm coming from, so I like that. I agree with that. I think it's an important thing. It's grounding in a setting for sure to be like, if there is magic, it isn't the end all be all. Here's why it doesn't work in the Harry Potter setting of like, why don't wizards rule the world? There's no reason not to. Like,
It's because they're
dude,
cowards.
right? Because otherwise the book would just be Magic World, and that wouldn't be as compelling as Kit thrust into Magic World he didn't know about.
Yeah. We're almost nearing 4 hours, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and write into somebody.
I feel you, buddy.
Do we?
For what it's worth, one final little bit I'm going to say is I think you're doing the right thing by taking it slow. I have taken a really long time to make Legacy, but I'm glad I have. And I think that's the smart move. Very proud of you, and I can't wait to see what you do with it.
Oh, thank you, man. Rodent's gonna be something I rush through though.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, depending on how that goes, I'm probably just gonna make it a very, very simple D6 game. It's just sort of very light, easy to pick up sort of game. But
Yeah,
yeah, does anybody have anybody we could raid into? There's a couple of people I see, but I raided into one of them last night. I kind of want to give somebody else some love.
I'll take a peek and see if there's anyone on my end, but I doubt most of my folks are asleep by usually UK time or their US time. Let's see. Well, there's this guy called Redemption VA, but I don't know.
Nah,
Seems like he's
he's
sketch.
a hack. He's kind of a racist.
There's Insight Checked. Is one that I'm
That's
looking
true,
at.
but she's got plenty of viewers.
Yeah, that's true. The only other person right now that would be on would be Lily Pichu, who is playing Valorant, which is nothing like what we're dealing with, and Critical Role, which I don't think they need. Like,
They don't need any more viewers. They're fun.
yeah, they're 36,000 people. They're good.
I'll give Insight Check to raid. I'm just gonna immediately lurk though, because I'm tired and I want to do things.
I feel you. I'm literally making webcams over this.
Hey, that's fair, man. Well, thank you, each and every single one of you, for joining us this evening and sticking around. For those of you that have stuck around the whole time, thank you. Appreciate you very much. Thank you for all the raids and the subs and the love. And the conversations we've been having. It's been wonderful. So good night to you folks, and I'll see you again tomorrow on Derek's channel for I'm Nomadic Mori, and on Saturday on Derek's channel for AS the Mountain, and you'll see Omni there too. So yeah,
Thank you. I'll also be live at 10:30 a.m. EST on Saturday morning, and also on Wednesday, we'll be working on making characters and getting ready to launch AS The Wilds of Glaswall, my first TTRPG stream on my channel, which is super exciting and nervous, and I'm learning all the things all at once. So that's it. That's all I got.
Alrighty, man. Well, I'm looking forward to Saturday. I'm not sure how that's gonna go down.
It's gonna be fun, man. I'm ready to play your game.
Knowing you and Derek's characters, you might get everybody killed. I'm gonna be quite honest.
Yeah, probably.
But I'm looking forward to it. Kira said I would have modded for Derek's Elden Ring string, but Elden Ring doesn't interest me. Nothing against Derek. No, you're totally fine. I'm not super big into those games either.
Yeah.
Have a great night, folks, and y'all know where to find me if you need me. Rogue's got a rogue. Rogues do got a rogue. You're
Rogue's
absolutely
always
right.
got a rogue.
All right. Well, good night, folks, and Omni.
Everyone, remember, keep writing.
Getting into Insight Checked, folks. Stick around. Insight Checked is is good people that play vid games. So yeah, I'll see y'all real soon.
And the raid is successful.